You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Do not forget. Expect us.
This is a message to all supporters. A message to all freedom fighters, all dissenters, to all forgotten. A call to all intellectuals, to all journalists. A call to all freethinkers. A call for intelligence. This is a call to all poets. A call to the strong and the weak. A call to all young people. To the wise, to the astucious. We want you to join us. We are on the streets of Tokyo. In the skyscrapers of New York. In the lanes of Paris. In the cellars of Munich. On Moscow's icy places. On the cobbled streets of Dublin. This is a call to all people. To the youth. Join us in the fight for freedom of information. Search for us, and you will find us. We are among you. We are you. Everyone you speak with can be a member of Anonymous. We have no leaders, only an orientation. We have no targets, only results. You cannot stop us, because we are an idea. We cannot be eliminated, because we are invisible. If you try to mock us, we will mock ourselves. If you try to slander us, we will accept the defamation. We are the king's jesters with daggers. We are the dancing bear which tears to pieces the laughing mob. We are anonymous. We are urgent. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us, just as we expect you.
councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
and welcome to Anonymous Bites Back, episode 135. I don't know, somewhere around there.
I believe so.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. That's fine.
We're back. We're expecting a guest today. I guess he'll come when he'll come. So I guess we'll go into it. We'll just start Facebook bashing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, he'll be on. I don't know if he's in the middle of something or what, but he should be joining us. So
Okay.
So what?
We got like 4 hours, so whatever.
We won't start Facebook bashing, or are we gonna hold?
yeah, let's bash Facebook.
Like, where should I go next this week? Facebook during like it was 2 days ago when all the tech.com and tech industries were having a good day. Facebook dropped 10 points. Following a report that they knew about the data, the Cambridge Analytica thing, and there's papers that are papers that are proving that Mark Zuckerberg was aware of the whole fucking situation. So much so that the U.S. Attorney General is suing Facebook right now. I'm not sure about the details about what he's suing over, but I'm pretty sure it's in relation to that. And there was also leaked in more documents that more third-party apps were having access to your information, including apps like OkCupid, dating sites, just places you don't really want any of your information going to.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been several big leaks that came through. The Cambridge Analytica one, it's one of those things, you know, from a networking, from a tech perspective, nothing happens on your network without you knowing about it. They make it sound like it's oh well, this was going on and we had no idea. Nothing happens on your network, on your servers, on your software, without you knowing about it. I can tell you, you know, when something connects to your network, the information that you collect, whatever, you can tell everything that's going on it. So to say that their analysts and the people that were involved in it didn't see this going on, who was collecting it, who was downloading it, who was moving it around, is insane. You know, when you figure, okay, the size of the file, all of that information, you didn't notice a terabyte file being downloaded?
Well, more than that, their financial people know because they were getting paid for the data. You know?
Oh, yes, they were. Yes, they were.
You know that they're getting paid for it on top of it. This wasn't like it was an accident, but with a lot of these, they act like, oh, hey, we didn't notice that every single user on our platforms data had been downloaded. You didn't notice that? You didn't notice trillions of data going to one place? Bullshit. I can tell where every single packet on my network goes.
Well, they'll straight up, they're bold, man, brazen. They'll just straight up lie to Congress, and you know they'll have videos where they say one thing, they're telling Congress something else. I mean, that's the kind of bravado they have. Because they know they'll just buy them off.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's only a matter of time before a criminal case comes out. You know.
Well, they very rarely they don't actually go the criminal route. You know, they'll fine you, right? And if you do something bad enough, then you have to step down. And if you step down, then I guess it's all good. But mostly it's just a fine. You know, if you're a $1 trillion company, then you know they're gonna want $10,000.
No, they need to fine him $1 billion. That's kind of like where it's gonna hurt them. You know, they got a billion users. What's that? It's like $1 a user.
Oh, they'll make more money than what you know. The fines are ridiculously small on how big the companies are, and I don't know if your average person always realizes that. Oh, they said here giving them a $10 million fine. Mike Zuckerberg shits $10 million.
Here's the funny part. I believe in that Washington D.C. Lawsuit that they're actually mainly filing it for the people that were within Washington D.C. that were affected. Like that's where the dollar amount of the lawsuit comes in, or something like that. And so they're actually suing for those people and their misuse of those people's data. Now, shouldn't that money go back to those people that had this, that are being targeted,
Fuck, I should sue Facebook and get some money,
Right, that's what I'm thinking. It could be open season.
Or just, hey, you know what? Fair enough, guys. I know it's a big, to give out these fines, maybe just give everyone a stock. Like one share.
I don't want their share. It'll be worthless by the time they give it to me.
You can just donate. You can just donate our shares to someone who really hates Facebook.
It's pretty close to being over now. I mean, really hemorrhaging money.
Well, they went from July. They were $244 a share. As of trading today, they are down to $131. The share has lost.
Baby.
The share has lost almost 50% of its value, and that's not good. You can go over the numbers and blame it that there was a pullout on the stock market. Yes, that's true, but most of the stocks have already bounced back.
Yeah.
So I'm just.
But it gets better.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy it even at half price.
You get half price
half
stock.
Price.
You can't do that. That's how the stock market crashed in the 30s.
You wouldn't buy it even now. Damn, it's half
you
price.
Can't do that anymore. That's how the stock market crashed in the 30s.
Everything must go.
Yeah. No,
but now they're going for the cryptocurrency, huh?
Yes. They. So I talked about this maybe a year ago. In Facebook was seriously debating on using blockchain technology. I was like, whatever, Mark Zuckerberg is smoking weed, whatever. I don't he even knows what blockchain technology really is. And he guess he got some engineers and is creating a coin. I know they've been implementing Facebook support for the gaming community. I wasn't sure on the back end if they're using any kind of cryptocurrency or blockchain technology on the back of that, but I don't think that they are. So yeah, they're gonna invent another shit coin. I call it shit because it will be. It'll be probably another IPO, and yeah.
Well, you'll have an option. You either have shit coin or butt coin.
Yeah,
it's your choice.
$.
Well, I don't see how it'll be profitable, outside of the Facebook, what do you call it? Economy, other than giving people, money to play video games.
Well, I figure when they sell the very last bit, I mean, we're going to there's only so many people in the world, right? 7 billion people. And I haven't looked through the numbers, but eventually they've got all of our information. At that point, I look for Facebook to close its doors and them to move on the next technology that they plan on using. But at a certain point, when you look at some of these data leaks, and they're all like 10 million users here, 20 million users there, 300 million users there, at a certain point, you get all 7 billion users, and you're just trading that personal information back and forth amongst the big corporations. They're continue buying them. When these leaks get leaked, it's not like they say, okay, we know who all the people are, right? Those are all blacklisted. Anytime those come up, it's immediately erased until we get back. We know that those people don't want their personal information out there, right? Or we have to ask you, but that's not what they do. Once it's leaked, they buy it. They buy it from the people that are selling it on the black market. These big, Russian companies, Eastern Europe companies. There's companies in China and Africa that are specifically nothing but data farms. So after it's black market, the information goes out there. The same big companies, Comcast and these giant companies, still come through and buy the personal information. But at a certain point, we're going to get all 7 billion people. You know where you live, where you're going, what you eat.
And that's when the Terminators come out, right?
Well, now here's my problem. What are they really finding out? It's like, okay, you guys are so smart. You got it all in your digital format now. You got all the data. What do they really know that somebody writing it down on a piece of paper with a pencil didn't know 200 or 300 years ago? You could collect all the same data back then. All you're going to find out is how screwed up humans are. And this is that they ain't got any money. We got all these motherfuckers out there, and they ain't got any money.
Well, I think they're like the little bit that you have. They're specifically trying to build the algorithm that makes you give them that little bit of money, last little bit of money.
Oh, so it does an automatic donation for you, right? It'll second guess when you want to pay somebody money.
If they can just figure get people to donate without asking. You know, it worked for a little bit, and they ran out. They were like, "Look, I just talked to God. He said, give me all your money," and that doesn't work anymore. So now they have to figure out a way to get you to give money without question. Oh, that still works.
Well, you have to remember, I mean, is a boot on your face going to be enough, or is there more they can do to you past that? You know,
how far will it go? You know, are you willing to believe that they're still torturing people and chemically, you know, poisoning you? You know, like they've always done, right? They want to know all of those things.
Yes, they are.
Then we watch Futurama. What were those little aliens that like suck up personal information?
I don't know. I wasn't an avid Futurama guy.
Are they
brain slugs or something?
I'm calling them Zuckerbugs.
Zuckerbugs?
Yeah, Zuckerbugs.
Oh, I can't wait for the, you know, like, can you imagine a Zuckerberg currency?
No, I don't want to. I mean,
for you to be
have his face on one side and have a big picture of his ass on the other side, man. Just for all you dumb fuckers out there.
And now I'm gonna Zucker you out of your last little bit of money. We should start using. Can we patent the word Zucker? Like someone.
You've been zucked. I mean, that's been going around for a while.
Guys, this sucks. This sucks so bad. Just the word for corporate for like electronic, like for technology-based corporate greed, right? Is Zucker.
Yeah, well, when you think of a stuffed shirt or an empty suit, you put Mark's face on it. You know, it's just it's a natural. He's just a slick corporate douchebag, you know.
Well, he's got like what happens when you take like programmers are special, right? He's got a programmer's personality.
I was going to talk about that. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but
like how is he a fucked up programmer who can't program shit?
He can't program shit, and I've got proof of it, so much so that he paid Angel Fire to delete something.
That's why he tried to like seems like he has all of the like personality traits to kind of put himself into that league. Because if you didn't know him, you know what I mean, it has to do with working inside of code and putting your mind into that mindset, right? That's all part of it. And I think he tries to like push that persona, and I agree that it's not real, but boy, does he try to like make it seem real.
Well, he needs to frost some gray hairs or something into his hair there. I mean, he's got to.
Do you think he's got like Asperger's or something? I think he does.
Oh, I don't think it's Asperger's. I think he's just an
asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor, right? I'm not. But if it was my diagnosis, I would diagnose with assholery, assholerosis, assholeries. I don't know. We'll think of the disease where you're just a fuckhead.
Narcissism.
Well, I'd go for psychopath because, you know, I mean, he actually wants to like own a big company and run your life. So I mean, you know, he's right up there, man. You know?
Yeah, well, looking at those hearings, I mean, he did kind of look like he didn't have like a soul or whatever. Looked like an android kind of thing.
He did like reality.
You don't think that his boys like pumped him full of drugs before that? Of course they did. That's the only way he could get through it. They gave him a bunch of Xanax and Adderall. They're like, hey, dude, like you know, here's some drugs and just keep calm,
The government has like the air, you know, that blows on you at those meetings, and sometimes they turn on the fucking juice that makes you into a psychopath, and sometimes you'll see when you have. You're like, God, you know, we just talked to him. We were at the speech, at the hearing, and he seemed to have his shit together. And then he goes in front of the hearing and turns into a weirdo. It's from the fucking the psyops mind machine or brain slugs that they use. I don't know how they do it yet. I've always
so that's what I was thinking. Maybe they put like a chip or something on his brain, and they like feed him with all this data into his brain or something.
They may be doing something as simple as using the denial of area systems, right? And just using the same megahertz, the same wavelengths that your brain operates on to you know, keep you placid, to do all sorts of cool stuff that you actually don't need to, you know, put somebody's system or even set up, you know, where you've got it in the air or anything like that. but you point the little machine at them, and because your brainwaves works at a certain megahertz range, and you're using, you know, waves at those same megahertz waves, you can actually change people's how they act. You can do all sorts of weird stuff with it. So yeah, and I don't know how far that research is gone.
Well, they got a version of the LRAD that they've been using. They're not sure if that's what it is. Remember, but they've been using that in the Chinese U.S. Embassy and the Cuban U.S. Embassy. Workers have been attacked with the ultrasonic weapon. I know that. But
yeah, and it makes you sick to your stomach. They're
actually having brain damage.
I think they did something similar at, I know I've talked about this before, but I think they did something similar at Standing Rock, is where they were testing some of this technology to see what they could do with low-level radiation, you know, machines, like I said, these ARED systems, and being able to affect, you know, making people sick, all sorts of different of things that it can affect. Like I said, like how you act, placid, angry. Like, they are doing the research to see if it's in what range does it make people act in what way. It's a weird technology, but I definitely see them using it quite often in any way that they can to control people. You know, if they can give you one that makes you seem like you're angry, if they can get you one to make you seem like you're extremely, you know, placid, if they can, like him, like seem like you were extremely placid, you know, more than even your normal personality was. Or they just straight up filled you full of fucking drugs and put you. They're not opposed to that, like, either.
And for sure, Zuckerberg has lost it. You know, I tried looking up his.
I don't know. Is it just me? Like, they all seem to do this. You know, like on one, they go in on 1 minute like fire and focus and all of that, and then they come out the other side like conformists. Even like Alexandra Cortez, right? She goes in, you know, we're not going to budge. Fuck these guys. Fuck Nancy Pelosi. Neoliberals. Goes into one meeting, comes out and says, "I will vote for Nancy Pelosi. You will be assimilated."
Well, that's what happens. Is that Zuck probably noticed, you know, early on. He's like, "Well, this is a great idea," and he's like, "Well, how do I fund this thing?" "Oh, we won't tell them. We'll just sell their data. It's cool. Nobody will know. That's how we pay for everything. Nobody owns. No, so much so that the users don't own the content or really making a profit up until, what is it? How long has Facebook been around? 10 years. So it's taken. So it's taken them around 7. Let me see. John 14. So we got roughly 13 years it's taken them for users to make profit off of their stuff. Now that they added the Facebook gaming. So I mean, other than people who have like you know, a little above the average Joe tech skills are making a profit off of their own content, but the average Joe Schmo is not making any money off of their content. Facebook is making money off of their content.
Oh yeah, they pushed you out of it. See, first it was, you know, everybody's, you know, it's the what do you call it? Not common law or Creative Commons, you know, and then it turned into, well, it's your stuff, and then now it's their stuff, and can be sold and all the rest of it. You know, it's morphed over a 10-year period from being yours to being theirs.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, come on, the name of the company is YouTube, and it is their tube. They've made that very clear.
Yeah,
but they even make it, you know, in the name, it makes it sound like it's, you know, you.
And it's all about you, but yeah, it doesn't have anything to do about you. It's the typical corporate shit, you know. It works for the sheep, right? I mean, they're all, oh yeah, YouTube, hey, this is great, you know, and never realizing what's really going on.
Yeah, look, their deal is to sell shit. You know, that's the same platform as everything else. You know, you've got the people inside of the entertainment selling you product. You've got the in between advertising. Remember, YouTube didn't used to have advertising. You know, when you think of all it used to have advertising, and that was what made them so great. You could look at somebody and they were talking to you, And fuck, not trying to sell me a hoodie or not trying to sell me the next, you know, whatever it is, your hover round or whatever it is. Hoverboard.
Well, it's like cable. It's turned into the cable. You know, that was how cable first came out. It's like, man, it was like you went to MTV. It was all just straight music, right? No ads or nothing.
I don't even
Same
think
with CNN. You get 30 minutes of news. You know, now you get like, you know, you may as well watch regular television. You're getting as many ads or more, and it's a total hijack. Plus, the price has gone up. It's like that's how they always corporatize everything. You know, you see the same thing like Vegas. You know, you go from, hey, we'll give you like a $20 room and free steak in the morning, to now they're just total corporate dicks. It's like you go in there and the slots are so tight. You know, it's just like a super fleecing. You know, it's like, what happened, man? And of course, there's no free steaks or cheap rooms either. You know, that's all really expensive too.
Yeah, they
crap.
They just take your money.
Yeah, it's all about hijacking you. You know, taking something that was good and turning it into their same old corporate shit. You know, every time.
But you don't even get the fun out of it. You're like, fuck, man. Before I got the free steak in the room. I came in here and gambled. At least you threw me out when I'm broke. Now you just fleece me and throw me out on the street.
You don't get.
What's in your wallet, buddy? Huh? I mean, can you imagine if like people were able to act the way that they make it seem like the internet is allowed to act? You know, like Facebook is allowed to act. I got 10,000 names and addresses. You guys want these?
Well, yeah. If somebody thugged you, Terrence, and walked you up on the street, and it's just like, you know, let me look at all your messages. Give me your lock code for your phone. I want to check your messages out. You tell them to go get fucked.
Yeah, that's.
I know you would. Yeah.
That's creepy as hell. No, mine's encrypted. You ain't getting into this phone.
But if Facebook does it to you, it's okay. He's a private company. He can do whatever he wants. You know, that's the kind of shit you have to hear from your government nowadays. It's like, you know, that's just total crap too. It's not. No, that's not true. Companies can't just do whatever the fuck they want. You know, like shut up.
It's a private company. They're doing their investigation. There's nothing that we can do. Like they literally say that. Oh well, they're doing an internal investigation. I guess we'll back off. Can you imagine if like any other crime was worth that? You know, the cops come knocking at your door. Oh, we're gonna check into this murder. Actually, I'm already checking into it. So as soon as we're done with our internal investigation, I'll get right back to you. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have a good day. Hey, you weren't dumping poison into your neighbor's farm. Do a real investigation. We'll get right back to you. Don't even worry about it. What's that thing that you always say? They investigated themselves and found out they did nothing wrong.
Sure, you always create a committee to investigate yourself. That's what responsible people do.
I wonder if the Saudi Arabians murdered that journalist. Let's start a committee. No, they murdered them. You didn't need a committee.
Yeah. Craven criminals that are just trying to cover up shit. They would never do that. These are the good guys.
The sad part, you know, they rub it in our face so blatantly these days that, I mean, it's like, yeah, this is what we're doing, and you're not gonna do anything. So yeah, we're telling you even. You know.
It's like, yeah, you pathetic sheep. Here, let me tell you how it is. And they slap you a few times, rub your face in it, and then all you can do is go.
That's all they hear. You're exactly right, man.
They would be exactly right, brother. Those people. Guaranteed.
And then they know they've got you. It's just like, wow, we shit on their face, and they licked it up. They loved it. It's like, we got these people right by the balls, man. We got them right where we want them. They're just right for the taking.
So this is kind of, but like, obviously, look at all of the Democrats that earlier to yesterday immediately became pro-war. Every single one of them is now bitching and moaning about leaving. Look at all of the Democrats. Who is in charge when you leave the fucking war zone? What the fuck does that matter?
Yeah, what happened to all the loving liberals? Where it's just, oh, now you love war? I mean, what happened?
No more wars in our tag. You know, it's been on every Bernie side, every Democrat ran. No more war policy. Stop funding these warful policies. Oh, Trump said we need to get back from Syria. Oh, we need to stay in Syria. Yeah. How are we going to keep making ISIS troops if we don't keep killing people in Syria? You don't know how this works, man.
Oh, we're talking about Syria now?
Sorry.
Yeah, we're jumping around, Tyler. You got to be nimble, man. Come on. You have to be intellectually nimble.
Just an update. The GoFundMe wall is up to 9.8 million right now.
Christ, are you serious? Good on him.
Oh yeah, well, let's tell our listeners what it's about. I mean, it's like that these guys started on GoFundMe to build Trump's wall, and it's like reached almost 10 million now in like 3 days.
It's not like I've said before. I don't believe that it's legal in any way, shape, or form to use donations for a secure what they're called. Well, it's technically what it is it's not only a border wall, it's a security wall, and that would fall under national security. So I don't believe that funding because then we would go into special interests, and there's probably some legal red tape right there.
All right, here's what we'll do. We'll make ourselves an NGO, Tyler, and we'll just get a bunch of money, and we'll just do whatever the fuck we want. We'll just buy off politicians and anybody that gets.
Well, that's already going on.
And we're just going to do whatever the hell we want.
Well, I'll tell you what.
The Republicans, I'm not mad at them. Look, if the Republicans got their shit together, the people that support this wall support this fucking wall. We can't raise money to fucking help Flint. We can't raise money to fucking end veterans' homelessness. We can't raise money to do fucking shit. This is like a good example of our fault. If we cared much about anything, as much as they care about that fucking wall, good on them for getting their shit together. Right? I ain't paying for it. The government ain't paying for it. If you believe in it, you organized it, and you put your fucking money where your mouth is. When are we going to do that?
Do you see that?
Them for doing what you...
Hey, man, do you see that we're almost at $10 million in 3 days? Yeah. To me, that's saying that the people, a lot of people, somewhere, want the wall.
Yeah, and we got enough loose change to do it, too. We don't even... It's like buying a lottery ticket.
You're not talking like, I mean, most of the donations are like 5, 10, 15, 20, 150. You know what I mean? For that many people, that's a lot of money, man, for just 5 here. Yeah, it's Christmas time, and people are still putting this kind of money out.
Yeah, but that's the deal. It's like, okay, so I disagree with everything about the wall. But the fact that you guys are willing to support it and get your shit together, that makes us look bad, right? For all of the liberals that are bleeding heart, whatever, y'all should have put in $10 and fixed Flint's water.
Right now, there you go, bro. I would be happy to see all this money go to that. All of it, every single penny. That makes sense to me. You're right there.
Yeah, but it doesn't. The fact is that for all of the people that act like they care, obviously they don't care as much as the dude that's got the, you know what I mean? That you feel like I'm this for doing it for racist reasons, regardless, is actually doing it. Right?
Yeah, so you can disagree with them, but they do know how to promote their stuff. So yeah,
well, they do know how to band together. Normally it's the other way around, though. The Democrats are usually better at doing this. I'm surprised they're getting, this is one of the few times the Republicans are actually kind of getting their shit together in some way.
It's scary, man. It really, to me, it really is.
No, go ahead.
It's scary as shit.
The Democrats do it, but in a different way, right? So they get their millionaire donors to come together and organize, they don't organize the protest, but they'll organize the coverage of the protest. You hear what I'm saying? So, like, your average on the ground, it ain't getting jack shit. But they can make a media circus around it so that your hard work goes to benefit what they would like it to benefit, right? You get the coverage. We can go to somewhere in March and get 1 million people to get a 1 million man munch every year. CNN ain't showing up to fucking cover it.
Yeah.
But, like, this is $10 donations. This is grassroots. This isn't the Koch brothers.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that GoFundMe, here's the thing that I'm not sure any of you guys have thought about is, like, why hasn't GoFundMe pulled down this because it's not legal?
I don't know if it's illegal. I'm not morally offended by them. I don't agree with it, but I'm not morally offended with them raising the money.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's illegal. There's probably some statute.
GoFundMe gets 6%, I think. A minimum of 6%.
Of course, if they get 6% of $1 billion, they would love that.
I mean, that's a lot to turn down,
You guys can donate your, you know, if you're so morally against it, you want to donate your 6% to the people of Flint? Love to see that. You get a water filter for every fucking house that way.
Just the traffic that it's bringing to their site, because I mean, like, I'm sitting on their site just refreshing the page every so often, you know, so that just watching the show.
Yeah, then it's up another 200,000, another 200,000. Like, it keeps going. It's I mean, it is now at 10 million, so they already made their first 600,000 in the percentages, like the GoFundMe. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to keep it up, I think.
Family in
I
America,
think
now you are fucked.
you could have to do it like some of these national parks. They have like Friends of the national park, whatever it is, foundation or some shit. They kind of run the thing, you know, and you just be friends of the border wall. Yeah.
You mean a sheeple of the government?
Fuck, it's just I don't know. No. That is, I mean, when you think of all of the things that we could have done, that we could be doing instead of this, like, really, that's what makes me sad is, like, really, that's what we united over. That's what we picked to unite.
It's
over.
not going to solve anything, like, and it's not going. And honestly, I'm just going to tell this realistic fact is the wall is never going to be built. It's not going to.
Oh no, but the people are going to make that $10 billion. That's like, that ain't going to the people in any way, shape, or form. Holy crap! Like, you're going to give it to the same corporations that put in the contracts for the U.S. government. Just make.
Yeah, see the contract. Yeah, the contractors will be for it too. I mean, this is they don't care either way. They make money.
Well, I mean, at some point it becomes a statement. I don't know. I'm frustrated that there's so many great things that, I mean, even us on here, you know, that we've talked about in, you know, Operation Safe Winter, right? To go and just, you know, feed the poor across the world, right? And nothing, you know, in comparison to where you're looking at $10 million. You know what, like the actual Anons that are working in Operation Safe Winter, you know what we could do with $10 million? Literally feed the entire planet.
Yeah, of course, that's so much money. I mean, you could feed so many poor people with this, and yeah, it's shocking to see how fast this is going. I'm thinking, like, I wish we had such amounts. I mean, we could do so much.
You wouldn't raise like I know. Go back to the thing at Flint, but it's so important to, like, look at the truth. You wouldn't organize and come together to Flint, which is something that people agree with on the left and the right. Right, but you would come together and organize $1 billion for this. Fuck, man. I mean, I'm gonna look. Trump is rich as fuck. If you and your rich ass Republican buddies want to build a wall, you put in the money.
You just have to. This is also you're missing part of it too. I think, Terrence, this is the power of the Trump cult, and it really is a cult because, I mean, but when they get motivated. This is kind of what you're seeing.
Yeah, they're good. Like, fuck it. Why? We need to, like, step back and, like, you know, kind of disconnect from it and really sit back. And I guess that's the deal: is we can't scam people. I think the like cult version of it is part of the reasons it is successful. Those people will give their last $10 before Christmas to support a wall.
Well, I don't feel any safer that there is a wall on the border of Mexico. You know, I mean, I really don't care if there's a wall or if there's... Actually, I prefer... Me, personally, I prefer none. I have my own personal reasons for it. Not everybody on the panel agrees with me, but that's just my view. But,
like, after Tijuana's, like, treatment of the asylum seekers, they should have to pay for the wall. Fuck you! I saw that... Like, there's a guy in Tijuana with a sign, right, that says "Go back where you came from." I damn near fell off of my fucking chair.
All right, I'm going back to Europe, guys. Bye.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me? I couldn't even believe, with as big of, like, political games have been made over the immigration and the wall between us and Mexico is going to be fucking pissy with the asylum seekers.
But there's not even there are tons of countries that don't have borders, that don't have security issues because they have borders. In John, in the Netherlands, you can drive from Belgium to the Netherlands, correct?
Yeah, and to Germany. I mean,
There's you don't have a problem with the Belgian workers coming into the Netherlands and yet so forth, do you?
No, it is all open. Oh, everything's open border.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
been like that for long.
I think like Switzerland and Sweden are out of it, right? They're not you can't just like go there. But the rest of Europe, if you want to go and work in Spain, you can go work in Spain. If you want to go work in Germany, you can go work in Germany. If you want to go work in Ireland, you can go work in Ireland.
I'm not saying that Mexico doesn't have its problems, with crime and drugs, and America has the same thing. But in Mexico, there's a more prevalence of how the criminal organizations control the government organizations. But you know what I'm saying? It's from a more open border policy would benefit both sides, I think.
I mean, not supporting the drug war, a lot of these cartels will dry up. Like there's nothing.
Oh yeah, the legalization of marijuana in the United States killed a majority of the Mexican marijuana horticulture.
I mean, it just at a certain point, we know what causes the violence. We talk about the violence without like it's in a little bubble. There's certain violence that is going to happen statistically. But as far as the drug-driven corporate war that we have going on right now, that will go away. There isn't any mules bringing drugs back and forth because that doesn't exist anymore, right? So that all of that dries up. Now, smuggling people is another one of those things because you're not focusing on bringing, on people that are selling dime bags or tons of weed. Once that's legal, right? You can focus on traffickers of people, of like really bad guys where you couldn't before. I mean, you're also probably going to have to stop funding those guys, but you hear what I'm saying, that you would be able to focus on people traffickers.
Oh, coyotes?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not, okay, coyotes are that's just for crossing the border and some other things. I mean, there's actual, like...
Well, yeah, I'm not saying the coyotes isn't involved in, the human sex trade. They do that too.
But that's not the bulk of it. The bulk of it is just getting them through the border officers that they have paid off to get people in the country to work. Like, that's what the coyotes do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people that get trafficked into to sex slavery and all of that stuff, but they're not focused on that at all. They want to bust the 18-wheeler of weed, right? You're gonna get your face in the paper for that, right? Commendations for that shit, right? You don't get a commendation for saving 3 little kids being smuggled across the border for sex trafficking. The cartels are corporate America. They keep their money at the same bank.
What is it? Oh shit! Isn't it called
HSBC?
HSBC, yeah.
Yeah, like they don't even. You come in. I mean, they don't. I think it's funny that we see it the way that it really isn't. Because they keep your money at the Royal Bank of Scotland. Yeah, but I mean, they all keep their money in the Caymans. They all you think that all of those billions of dollars that we keep in those offshore accounts, you think that that's not drug money? The cartels keep their money there too. Everybody does.
Who worked there was James Comey. He was a board member before he was in the FBI, who then later is investigating HSBC. I mean, it's like, give me a break, man.
Yeah.
Well, they can't find anybody else other than former employees to do the investigating,
We're about as corrupt as it gets. I mean, it's just in your face every day.
Like, rub it right in the crotch, dirty stain there, Just here, rub it right in our face.
All the sheep go, yum, 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 yum.
I mean, porn, the worst porn in the world isn't as bad as this. I mean, seriously.
Bernie Sanders was the longest serving senator, right, in the Senate for Vermont, right, and he just didn't know that Vermont was a tax haven, right, where you could open up wall to wall shell companies, He must not have. They must not have.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, his wife certainly did. I mean, she was in trouble for some laundering some money there for a while. I mean, I you know, that's kind of hard to believe. I mean,
it's just like that. All of that was going on. You had no idea. None, really. I know about it, and I wasn't even involved.
Bernie, you know what Bernie Sanders is? He's a corporate style socialist. He knows exactly what the fuck he's doing, and he's going to make a lot of money doing it, man.
I think
that's you know.
I think, to be honest, Bernie Sanders is really the best candidate that a completely corrupt system can produce.
It's the best democracy money can buy, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it isn't like, I think that really says everything. Like, he is the best that there is that we got going right now. But that's saying, out of such a horrible pool of people, that bar has been set pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, you stack him up against a Hillary, it's like, okay, I'll take Bernie. I mean, Hillary's just straight up craven criminal. I mean, you know, you can't turn her loose. You know, Jezebel, come on. You know.
She's straight up gangster, boy.
Oh, yeah. You have a chance with a Bernie Sanders or a Trump. I mean, with her, you just don't know. You could end up dead. You know, real easy.
You could end up dead. What are you talking about? Right? I wonder, like I said, I wonder if they just call people and like, I hope no accident happens to you. You feeling suicidal? Huh?
It must have been that sewer gas they all died of, you know.
Like it's just at some point we said it before. You gotta have, it's either one way or the other. Either you've had these people killed, or everybody that works with you after 15 minutes is fucking suicidal. And neither of those are good qualities in a leader.
Yeah.
I think with one of them, this guy like got the job there, and I mean, he writes his mom the day before he commits suicide. He's like, "This is the greatest job that I've ever had. This is a dream. I'm in politics, right? We're running for president, blah 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 blah." And literally the next day, he's writing is like, "I can't take this shit anymore." Right? He writes this whole like letter and commits suicide. Like, that is a big change after working with Hillary for one day.
I think you get dragged into one of their satanic sacrifices. That might change your mind. You know, it's might get a little weird.
That is not the group of people that you wanted a satanic orgy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're fuck Hillary's here? Fuck. She ruined everything.
They're going to be angry.
And Satan's going to be angry today. Hillary's here. Fuck.
I don't know if Bill shows up or not. Is he dying?
He probably stays away from the witch conferences. You know, he's got to go over there to Pedo Island there with Epstein, his buddy. You know.
Welcome to
Hey, you
Pedo
know,
Island.
in this last deal that Epstein made. Now, get this: this is, no prosecutor would ever do this for anybody else, but in the deal that Epstein made, no one else that's associated with anything that might have gone on with his case can now get prosecuted. It's like they've been absolved, which would be like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, you know, and a few others. You know, it's like, oh, really? So just because this guy buys his way out, now everybody else gets a free pass? It's like, you know, hey, man, welcome to American justice, man. God, this country's great.
Yeah, because he bought himself out, so everyone connected to him also has to walk free because they will incriminate him again. So it can't be possible.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, what prosecutor could do? Like, oh, well, that's reasonable. Well, yeah, we'll just, you know, there could be other criminals, but we'll just let them go. It's all right.
Why do they have those sacrifices, though? So that, like, everybody in the room is guilty. Right? So, like, if one of you goes down, you all go down, and you're all in the halls of power, so you can't, you know, you do this, you cut a deal so that nobody around you is responsible.
Do you guys think that this Hillary actually tweaks the satanic rituals and stuff? Like, she's not satisfied with the ritual, she makes it better and stuff? Like, that she has that much power?
Better. I have a sneaking suspicion that, like, the people that are involved in the weird sex rituals are all like, boy, I sure am glad Clinton got involved.
Yeah. spices
Right.
things up.
I
Like,
bet you there's a lot of people that are like, man, this used to be so much fun, and
Well,
now I don't even
Well,
enjoy
yeah.
it.
See, it used to be you could get a lot of drama kids from the college, to come do the play or make it all look right. But now it's like an actual, sacrifice. It's like one of you motherfuckers are probably, or maybe a couple more, are going to die in this motherfucker. Because
Yeah.
we're, this is for real now, man. I mean,
Used
we're going to
just be-
reincarnate some demons, and we're going to get this motherfucker rolling.
Oh, that is like the last person I want to see in a satanic orgy is Hillary Clinton. I think Hillary Clinton and Mitch McConnell would both be top on my list of people that would you'd just be like, oh, this.
She'll stab you in the heart right as you're ejaculating. Okay, I mean that'd be your last great orgasm.
Like
Terrence.
if I show up, I'm pretty sure. Like if Hillary Clinton walks in robe, I'm pretty sure I'm like, fuck, I'm getting back. Fuck, I knew I shouldn't have came to this party.
For $1 million.
Yeah. No, like if you come in there, like I know it. If Hillary Clinton comes in with the amount of shit we talk.
Yeah, they'll hand you $1 million, because you're not going to walk out that door. They'll give you $1 million. Yeah.
Maybe that gives you the brain slugs.
You get the brain slugs?
That's when they give you the brain slug. So, like, if I ever come on the show and I'm all like, look, guys, fossil fuels are really the future. Monsanto is a great company, and there's no conclusive proof that their Roundup causes cancer. Know that I have been brain slugged, abducted, calling for help. Hillary Clinton is a great leader, and I feel would lead this country to the shining future that we so desperately deserve. I am being held hostage. That's what that means, right? They are keeping my family. Like, if I ever come out and pull a Bernie Sanders and are like, I think you should vote for Hillary Clinton. No, something like, blink twice if you need help. There's something desperately wrong, right? Come look for me.
No, you just write in Gary Coleman or something weird on your ballot, write-ins.
Anybody.
Anybody.
The deal is, you couldn't beat. That is anybody. When you can't beat Donald Trump as president, look, we could have beat Donald Trump as president. Like, just the panel. I want to know what happened to D's nuts. Like, how did he do in the poll?
Oh, D's nuts? Did he really run?
Yeah. And there was a couple of spots I thought out east that he was trolling.
Doesn't D's nuts? Isn't he like mentally handicapped though?
To be honest, that was Trump. That was Trump. He actually did win.
Oh no, I was talking about that kid who started it.
That started these nuts. I don't remember the whole story, but geez, I think he'd be. Look. I don't like my politicians hiding it. At least here we know that he hangs out with a bunch of dicks. No. And not everyone can be a winner. You hear what I'm saying? Even monkeys fall out of trees.
What happened today? Oh yeah, I was going to talk about this. Our Secretary of Defense resigned today.
Is this news?
Well, if Trump actually believes that ISIS has been defeated in Syria, you're obviously mistaken. There are ongoing operations, within a non-community that will tell you otherwise. But
going to be people that don't like us because we've carpet bombed their country and killed their families. So I mean, they're saying from the generals that are talking, they're saying that there's about 30,000 ISIS members still around in the Middle East. Unfortunately, every time we drop a bomb, we make another 1,000 of them. I mean, those 30,000 are probably, look, that's actually a pretty low number if you figure you only have 30,000 people that are pissed about you murdering their children. I doubt that.
That's what I'm saying is, I was saying this before in the chat room, if we pull out of, I don't support war, but I also don't support, I also don't support, ISIS, but ISIS is a radical movement that think that they're the caliphate. And America will have repercussions for this. I guarantee you that it's not a smart idea.
Well, I mean, here's some of the things to take into consideration, right? Syria doesn't make M4s or AK-47s.
No, they don't make Toyota trucks, but yet ISIS somehow managed to get Toyota trucks. They get 50 cal. They get 50 cal machine guns. They somehow manage to get Chinese AK-47s, sometimes Russian. They manage to get RPGs. Who knows where the fuck that they're coming from? Somebody's paying for them.
We sold them to them.
Because they don't have the money to do all that shit. Yeah, we do.
Remember when it used to be illegal to sell them surface-to-air missiles? We changed that so that we could sell them surface-to-air missiles. Like, you can't arm an army that you've been carpet bombing and then be surprised that they turn around and fight you. Like, this is so ridiculous. And at a certain point, you have to look. Whether we never killed all of the...
Yes, but 30,000 ISIS members spread out throughout Syria and a few other countries is still quite a bit of an army, especially when we're dealing with radicals.
But Tyler, you're forgetting they work for us. Those are our guys.
The deal.
The Pentagon runs those guys.
Send food. Send water, right? With that same veracity that you sent bombs, and watch how quick, right, you lose support. Build schools and bridges, right? Put green power across the country, and see how quickly those ISIS members grow up. But if we continue to carpet bomb people, if is another country, right, you're never going to win that. You're never going to kill enough Viet Cong for people to not be pissed about you killing their cousins. We never beat the Viet Cong either. There was the Viet Cong left. You're gonna have to deal with that shit. We created. We aren't ISIS.
Here's the only thing that's going to happen is what what's going to happen is it's like the Israelis, of course, will have to step in and handle the situation.
Well, they already are talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how that ends. I mean, come on.
If our goal is to bring peace, then we're gonna have to send things.
Well, even the Israelis said today that they're unsure if President Trump is fit to lead the United States, because what he's doing right now is and he is putting Israel in harm's way by doing what he's doing, and by
making it. I think they're more mad at him for leaving, not because he's putting them in harm's way, because they're losing this battle for war, this march and drum for war. The worst thing that can happen to these people is peace. They fear that more than anything else.
They have to keep the wars going because that's the cover for what they're actually doing, which is stealing land. You have to remember, it's the promised land. They're the chosen people, okay?
But even to step back, look at the people that are standing out against it right now. Democratic Party, right? The same war hawks that are always pro-war.
Their last. Israel's last defense minister quit because Netanyahu told him not to bomb Palestine, which was a odd request, but he quit over that.
Well, I know, just the fact that he was he wanted to move to peace. At the bottom line.
I'm not sure if that was Netanyahu's. I'm pretty sure his advisors said it was bad politically at this point. On the world stage, but it was.
Yeah, we need better leaders when they think that their reason for bombing or not bombing is because of bad.
Yeah.
What is this going to look like? Can I make this look like we were attacked? Can I make this look like we were attacking? Am I strong or am I weak? What's the story? I need money. I need guns. That's the same old game. And I really do think with Iran, with North Korea, with all of these places, the thing they fear most is peace. When not, they're always going to push for war. Always, always. And you see that. The Democrats are pushing war. They will keep soldiers in Syria. We have no business in Syria. Even the side that we picked were wrong. The rebels that we were training, that we were giving guns and rockets and money.
The Kurds do a good job, though.
The Kurds did a good job of what?
Killing ISIS.
Well, they would go somewhere and mark a target, and we would use that little loophole that allows us to be at war with the country, even though we're not, to blow up a ISIS spot. In some cases,
yeah,
we promised them land in another country.
Yeah, they never. No side gave them the land that they were promised. So they're pissed about that.
Well, they're being used.
Yeah.
They've been being used for a long time now. They're a group of people that they can use as a fighting force in several different directions, and never make good on their promises. They'll never going to get a Kurdistan.
The Kurds are kind of like a they're kind of the offshoot, because they have no land. They have like 20 million of them living throughout Asia and the Middle East, and they have a standing army.
Well, no, we've got people that know the area. We did something very similar to the Hmong in Vietnam, and then just like we do with the Kurds, as soon as we're done with them, we leave you. Yeah, right.
No, when we abandoned them, we also allowed Turkey and Syria to gang up and kill them, and calling them terrorists after they were helping us.
Yeah, that's the same thing that we did with the Hmong, and that's the deal. You promise they're killing people that aren't in their homeland for land. That's not a moral reason to be killing people. They weren't killing them because they were ISIS. They were killing people because they want to build a house where you're living.
Well, yeah, you can't build a house when there's the caliphate is there. I mean, they destroy everything that isn't according to the Quran. And they did that. They are extremes in the Muslim world. And they don't represent the whole Muslim community, but they are a little out there. And when they took over territory in Iraq, they started destroying history. They started destroying temples and monuments and anything else that they could destroy.
That should go back to private collectors in the English, like all of the other. Yeah, like all of a sudden the colonial world gives a fuck about ancient ruins.
The 90% of humanity benefits from learning history, so therefore we don't repeat the same mistakes.
Well, come on, you're trying to think logically with barbarians and savages. It's not going to work.
Yeah, look, the deal is like all of a sudden you see there's plenty of Egypt's stable as far as their history is concerned. Right, and you don't see them sending any of the artifacts back from Egypt, right? They've got King Tut's sarcophagus sitting in the historical.
Well, they destroyed a temple in Iraq, which was I believe the Babylonian equivalent to a temple of a deity that was somewhat satanic. You can debate whether it was the demonic incense, but it wasn't a good god, but it was worshipped as a god of prosper. I wasn't sure which deity they were referring to, but the ISIS caliphate determined that they were a demon, so they blew up a 4,000-year-old temple.
And why is that not our fault? Like they invaded Iraq. We are the ones that destabilized the area for profit, for Halliburton. They didn't pop out of nowhere, right?
We just handed them the dynamite. They're the guys that blew it up. See, they're the bad guys.
And yeah, they did go through and wreck this place after we've been carpet bombing. You remember? You think we gave a fuck about Babylonian treasures during shock and awe? All of the palaces that we carpet bombed to get Uday and Qusay and Saddam Hussein were ancient palaces. We don't really give a shit.
No, there was shit in Fallujah. Yeah, there were some ruins in Fallujah that got carpet bombed.
It's the beginning of humanity, but that's all of Iraq. It's not like we had no, it's over and over again. ISIS existed and existed because of us. We fucked that up.
Yeah, that's the core of everything. I mean, ISIS wouldn't be there right now without the Americans. I
mean, terrorists.
I would say.
There is no Al Qaeda if there is no Mujahideen.
Americans are the terrorists of the world, no matter how you look at it. We go to other countries, we bully them, we beat on them, we bomb them, we rape and pillage their country for everything that's in there in the name of freedom.
Whoa.
Don't forget democracy.
Democracy. Yeah, which did I mention that we're a republic, a constitutional republic? So being a democracy should not even be in there, you know?
Well, you can't say that though, because if you actually were a republic, you wouldn't do that. So we have to be a democracy.
Right. Yeah, we're supposed to be a constitutional republic, but hey, you know, it's, you know, everybody's got brainwashed to believe in word democracy. It's just,
we have to be.
It's not,
we have to be fair. America is not the only country we have to blame for things. I mean, European countries are doing the same thing for centuries. I mean,
that's true, brother. That is so true.
Well, America's not a democracy; it's a republic.
Well, I mean, I think there is precedence to say that, yeah, of course, that war's been going on around the world for thousands of years and all of that. But there comes a point with, once you know that what you're doing is wrong, and I think that's what the general emotion of the people is. That's a different story.
Yeah.
You know, there's times when you thought that the king was right. You know, even though he was definitely wrong, we see that now, right? The people that were living, most of them felt the king was right. We live in a time now that we know that it's wrong, and that's a total difference. You know, you argue that, you know, for throughout history, you can argue, oh, well, that was the times. He was a man of his times. He thought of the times. But now, in this time, we know that it's wrong, and that's completely different than what we've seen throughout history.
Yeah. Well, like the media, it's also has to do with media and education of people, because even I don't know how many of you know about the situation in Indonesia 70 years ago, but it was a colony of the Netherlands 70 years ago. And well, after World War II, of course, Dutch didn't really have an army anymore, but they didn't want to lose Indonesia as a colony. So what they did, they actually used the Moluccans, there's like natives in the area, and they made them fight, kind of like the Kurdish are being used right now. They made them fight against the Indonesians, and they promised them their own country when they would have won the battle for them. Of course, it never got anything, but
if another country promises you somebody else's country, you're probably not going to get it.
Yeah, no, exactly. But that's just like, it's an example about like a country that's now being promoted by for like red light district and smoking weed and stuff, actually uses these things on their own against former colonies. And it was actually the Americans that stopped the Dutch back then from keeping their colony, because they already sent 200,000 soldiers to Indonesia, and they killed so many Indonesians there. And it was actually the Americans, they started, they forced like trade embargoes and stuff against the Netherlands back then. Like really different from now, but yeah. So yeah, European countries do the same thing, and the French do it in Africa still too. So yeah.
Yeah, I think they still hold on to a few colonies down there, right? Am I right?
And it's not just that they're holding on to them; it's like tax. So like they still pay taxes to France, or they'll have it that you owe France this huge amount of money for colonizing you.
Yeah. Yeah, and how about like Belgium in Ivory Coast and stuff? I mean, all these big diamond companies are like in Antwerp in Belgium, and the diamonds are all coming from Ivory Coast. Like
there's a joke that you've got like trains that move these, you know, all sorts of resources out, and you'll say the steel comes from Africa, the diamonds come from Africa, like everything on there comes from Africa, and it only goes in one direction.
Yeah. And it always looks like, the Americas are kind of like focused on the oil, but other European powers are like focused on other resources, and they're doing
mineral,
the exact
gold, diamonds,
same thing.
Yeah.
There is
a
greater source of resources than the African continent. So much so that they make it, you know, people talk about, and this is something I'm not going to get like too like distracted, but people talk about the joke about flat Earth, which is obviously not real. But they use the globe that's in your high school that everybody sees in their mind as how big the world is, right? Which in itself is a complete lie, right? The size of Africa compared to the size of America, compared to the size of Europe, compared to the size of Greenland, right? Greenland is not the size of the continental United States, right? Alaska is not the size of Mexico, right? But people see that as being absolute truth. And in all actuality, that picture of the globe is just as fake as the flat Earth theory is. And the reason that is is to keep Africa small, right? You figure we're not that, it isn't the resources of the entire world can be held just in Africa, right? You make it look like they're smaller than you. Literally on there, right? You're equal in power because you're equal in size. It's done on purpose. But no doubt, every globe that you go to in the Western world has a lie, just as much of a lie as Flat Earth. For those reasons, so that you don't see the immensity of the resources, of even the size of the country. Because the next thing you think is, well, then why aren't we on level with everyone else? You're literally smaller than me.
Yeah, it is like the most resource-rich region in the world, except for maybe some parts in Russia that haven't been discovered yet, like in Siberia and stuff. But for the rest, it is, yeah, obviously it's like the resource mine of the world. Everyone is abusing it.
No,
these people,
you're a gutless, heartless son of a bitch fucking corporation. Good news, you can still buy slaves there, so you can have them.
Yeah, Hillary. One of Hillary's friends got into trouble in Uganda. Was it Sudan or Uganda? Sudan. I think it was Sudan.
I'm sure.
And he promised one of the warlords mineral rights, or no, it was something about mineral rights. He promised both the warlords mineral rights to the diamonds, and whoever won as for an exchange for some of the cut of the profits on the diamond mines.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So you get them to fight, thinking that
yeah,
boy, you talk about playing both sides.
Oh yeah, I mean they went.
That's how you play both sides. I mean, you're the guy. You don't give a shit. It's just like you just throw some money out there, make a promise, and let them have at it, man. Jeez.
All of it, to get cobalt, to get diamonds, to get natural resources in general, to clear cut forests, right? They have done everything possible to keep Africa, South America, Southeast Asia destabilized. I mean, everything you can imagine, every dirty trick you can pull. But if
keep doing
it. I swear to God, I'll leave Europe if you try to fucking come here. That's England's, I guess. They're. Well, you were in Belgium. What's up with the nationalists having a riot in Brussels? Was that I didn't hear like.
I don't. Kevin's not here.
No, and I'm close to Belgium, but I wasn't involved with that. No, they wanna stop the Marrakesh Pact, immigration pacts from the UN, and yeah, they kind of hate the European Union too. So yeah.
The European Union is a failed project, you know.
Yeah, like we discussed it before too. I mean, the mistake people make is thinking that you need a central government to allow like free trade and free travel and stuff. You can still make these agreements between countries without actually forming a new government, like to overrule everyone. I mean,
that's the words, right? They always seem to. You're going to need a centralized government to rule over everybody. Boy, does that sound.
Yeah, and the cultures and the government structures in Europe vary greatly more than territories in the United States. So like it doesn't make sense to me. Even there,
it's not like they have a. I mean, they don't have a history of really trusting each other either. I mean, I don't know where they get this idea of the European Union. Really, since when? You know,
about 100 years ago, it started looking that sort of.
So in the last 100 years, everybody in Europe agreed with each other. But don't forget those 2 wars that happened. You know.
Oh yeah. A couple of dust ups.
No, well, isn't the European Union a project of the Third Reich and Adolf Hitler? Wasn't that really where it was born? I mean, so if you get so if you get the EU, I mean, it looks like they won,
First, gonna just get all the German-speaking countries together, something like that.
Yeah, so you can have a drunk German like Juncker as your self-appointed president. I mean, who runs shit like this, man?
I don't forget the Roman Empire before that, long before that. I mean, it even had the similar symbols like the fasci and stuff.
The eagle, yeah.
Yeah.
The eagle,
sure.
was the same symbol for the Romans and the Nazis.
Well, they fucked up.
And the United States.
Yeah.
Well,
what's that tell you?
remember when we got to the moon? What landed? The Eagle has landed.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That's you know.
There's questions
on set 34 or 56. Definitely a set.
Yeah, these are imperial symbols. So yeah, they use the same symbols, and they use the fasci, the Roman symbols. It also has at
well, the salute. So the Nazi salute, right, is actually the old Roman salute. So before they
yeah. It's just the hand switched, I think. The different hand, I think. Like.
And then they.
Well, it went out to in instead of in to out. But, yeah.
Stop. Like, the double lightning bolts were awesome. Quit using Celtic runes to push your fucking racism. Uncool.
Well, that was Heimlich. Was it Himmler? He is the one who was more into the occult than Hitler, and Hitler just let him use his cult following for his SS, so that he would have devout soldiers that would obey only Hitler. You know.
Yeah, but they also used a similar technique as the Romans also did, and it was to adapt the local cultures into their strategy. Like you had like a lot of the German soldiers were actually like Catholics, and before the war started, and to make them like hate their enemies, they kind of like used this whole story about that the Jews were responsible for the death of Jesus, right? So. They used the Vatican for that too, to use this entire story and to make these German soldiers actually fight for them. And in these areas,
they didn't attack the Vatican. That was the funny thing. They didn't attack the Vatican. No, they didn't.
That had to do with money. That didn't have to do.
They made a deal pretty early.
The Vatican was moving all of the artwork back and forth. Like, there was a lot of dirty shit that came out of that, and you notice you didn't get that artwork back. So, like, when the Nazis were, there were priests, individual priests that smuggled people and did some really great things. But the church in general was more than complicit, and then was more than happy to take information, to take artwork, to take historical pieces, and hide them away. It's kind of like the gold that Switzerland is slowly, and artwork that Switzerland is finally letting go. Man, it's 2018. How long are you planning on holding on to this Nazi gold?
Well, because that's what good guys do, right? I mean, good guys always keep stolen shit from somebody else.
It just seems like, okay, you know that this is starting artwork. Yeah, it's stolen artwork. Yeah, it has the name of the family written on the bottom of it. Send it back to them. Yeah. Of course.
I mean, if you look around us at all the major companies that were part of the Nazi empire,
Ford.
They're still going strong. Nestle, Volkswagen,
Bayer,
Hugo Boss.
BMW. Wasn't Berlin Motor Works was started in World War II, I believe, right?
I mean, for anybody to believe that the Reich died at the end of World War II when we took all their mines and brought them here, that you'd have to be insane. Yeah,
the 1950s were fucked up. And, like, I do think that Project Paperclip, like, the reason that it seems like we've got a Nazi regime going on is we imported all of these Nazis to our government system and then surprised when they set up a fascist system. Right? So we imported all of the, we imported them into our intelligence agencies. We imported them into our law enforcement. We imported into our military minds.
And we funded the mess out of them.
Like,
funding so deep, we still don't have a clue as to how much money is really funding all those projects.
Yeah, like it all. It went to these, like I said, we imported this whole mindset, and then are confused on why it's slowly but surely infiltrated. That's what that kind of evil does.
Yeah, you could say it's even perfected in the United States. The media is far more powerful, even the propaganda machine is far more powerful than it was in Nazi Germany.
Well, because we made sure to get the best of the best, right? We got the most evil of guys. When you look at the torture that was going on by the Japanese, right? So the Japanese scientists were doing all sorts of crazy experiments on people. So things that you already knew, like, smallpox exposure, seeing what happens if you suck all the air out of a room to the inside of a person, to let them die. Some really sick stuff. So rather than charge them with war crimes, we imported them to America and had them head our science, our research departments. These are the people that came out with, you know, the kidnapping people and filling them with LSD or filling them with diseases or putting, you know, chemicals in our water. You know, a lot of these kind of, you know, weird science projects, they all stem from, like I said, importing these psychopaths into our system and then allowing them free run.
Yeah, and they were, of course, a little ahead on like medical technology, and that is, yeah, for the obvious reason they could freely test on their subjects without limitations. So they made some progress with like organ transplants and all these things.
Modern day genetics, yeah.
Yeah. They could freely test, like in these concentration camps. They could use all these people as their subjects. So yeah.
I mean, that isn't like, we do get the tiny bit of benefit from what they found, but to be honest, if those wars didn't happen at all, right, one of those people has real right fix to you know, to genetics, to chemistry, to rocketry, to travel, to you know, computers, communication, and music, right? Like the people that we've lost in these wars fall our way. A couple of benefits that we get from the testing. Yeah, that medical testing got those kind of, you know, a couple of results, but the people that they, you know, one of the people that they tested on that they killed probably would have cured and thought of more, you know, more diseases than all of that testing gave us.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah. Or their children or grandchildren even now. I mean, yeah.
Like
entire generations.
The industrial complex likes to push that narrative that somehow we gain something from wars of attrition, but the truth is that on that line in World War I had the cure for AIDS, right? Had the cure for diseases, had the secret to jet travel, right? We lost so much in those wars for a benefit, and then, oh well, you know, we got GPS out of it. Well, you killed 1 million people that would have been able to figure out space travel, but thanks to the GPS.
Well, you know, we brought all those scientists here.
Yeah.
Now they got a big petri dish called America to experiment on, and they've been doing that too since the war. Experimenting on our cities, you know.
I don't argue about you know, chemtrails, and it's like, well, what's the question? Will your government knowingly spray you with chemicals? Oh yeah, they do that shit all the time. Are they doing it at this very moment? Man, I don't feel like fucking arguing it. You'll just try to discredit me. But I can name off the 1,000 other times that it's been proven that you were deliberately poisoning us, right? That you were spraying us with chemicals, that you were doing all of the things that we're saying. Whether to argue whether you're doing it at this moment or not, you haven't made it illegal.
They're doing it in Flint, Michigan. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
whoever heard of a city that can't get clean water? I mean, are you serious? I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, but if you want to pay $10 million, right, in a couple of hours to
oh yeah, the thing is past $10 million now for that GoFundMe for that wall.
But if you're a mom that just wants fucking a filter for your house, for your family, you're fucked. You're on your own. There's nothing we can do. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the liberals' fault. Right? It's the Republicans' fault.
Yeah, and somehow it's okay that they point fingers at each other and act like they didn't have anything to do with it. And like, that's the end of it. It's like, oh, well, we pointed fingers at each other. You know, we can all go home now. And nothing changes. And
we had a live stream earlier, and I had people get on there, and they were like naming off, you know, well, you know, we need to do, who gives a fuck? Raise the $10 million and fucking fix Flint's water. We will go on Amazon right now and order water filters. That simple. We know the numbers, right? There's less than 10,000 people in Flint right now. We need 10,000 water filters right now.
See, but part of the reason that they have no drinkable water was to empty that area out for some reason, strategically.
I believe, they want that for something else. Yeah.
Maybe I'm a conspiracy researcher, but you know, that's my thinking. That's what they do, you know, in cities. They build a section up real pretty, and then, well, 50 years later, they're on the other side of the city, building that pretty stuff for the rich people. You know?
Yeah, or they want to
keep moving people around.
They want to put a new industry, or they want to put a new housing development out there. Our buddy Trump, he was great for that, right? He'd send straight up thugs to people in control, right? In controlled rent neighborhoods, so old people and people with disabilities. So to beautify and to make a hotel, right? He'd send fucking dudes to whoop your ass and kick you out of your house, so that he could beautify it. Now the deal is, we'll poison your water, we'll poison your land, right? to poison your kids, you'll fuck off. If you want to move people out of an area, what do? Right? You send them blankets with smallpox on them. Same thing.
And you get two birds with one stone. You get to do your experiment on them and with all the chemicals and the water and all the rest of it, and at the same time you kick their ass out of town.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes you're not worth anything to them. So look, your house, your family, your livelihood. I want to put a Superfund site there, right? Me and my own buddies have all paid to dump the rest of our chemicals here to leach into the water system. We got to move all of y'all out to do it. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. It's not their kids. They don't give a They're not living in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, guarantee there's always a plan. They're always doing this for a reason. They want that land for something.
Yeah, they play the long game. You know, for people that are fighting climate change, right? Certain things they let happen. But, you know, when it comes to Puerto Rico specifically, they want to build hotel chains up and down there, right? So the fact that you all have to leave, that you can't live here anymore, that was the point. And we've got people on camera where these hotel chains, the investors of it, have hired people to come to your house, right? And we've got it on camera. These guys coming up, and pretty much they show up and they try to buy your house off and you try to buy your property off, so that they can put a hotel here on the beach. That was the plan. Yeah, so when you think, oh, well, why didn't they delete it? They needed it because we want you to leave. Right? We don't want you to survive here. We don't want you to rebuild your homes. We don't want you to live here at all.
Yeah, every time there's a storm, we're going to come in and buy up your shit until we got 90% of it, and then we're going to start building, you know. Like you say, they play the long game, man. They play the long game.
Look, if FEMA promised you money, it ain't coming, right? All of those things, like when someone comes in and offers you, you know, 10 grand, 20 grand, it's almost a blessing when you're sitting on a house with no roof. And that's exactly when they sweep in. With here, it's the people of Flint. These are auto workers, right? They don't give, this is blue collar. They don't even give you that courtesy, right? They're just gonna poison you until you leave.
No, they don't give a shit about the auto industry. They've already moved that to China. They're making plenty of money. They don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah. Yeah, or Mexico, wherever they feel like moving the plants to.
You give them a hard time, or the unions talk too much. You getting out of line? We're just going to leave. Fuck you. You know?
It's shocking to read about Flint, and then to read like 30,000 kids to be screened for lead effects, and then at a second link you read about 50 million into new housing developments projects. There's a lot being invested right now into Flint. I'm reading. And at the same time, you read about it.
It's the contractor play, though. There's always money for contractors, the good old boys.
So, you know, you'll have certain contractors that they focus on inner city neighborhoods. So they'll promise you all sorts of shit, take these massive contracts, and nothing happens. You saw that same kind of thing in like Haiti, right? So they'd come in and they'd get huge contracts, right? We'll come in, we'll get apartment complexes, we'll get, you know, all of this stuff. And you saw the same thing with like the electrical company in Puerto Rico, right? 3 guys, I'll just give you, you know, $100 million to 3 friends. Any of you guys actually worked in energy? Nah. We made an energy company last week specifically for this. So you have these contracts that are always kind of around making money off of poor people and taxpayers. But none of it will ever actually, you know, none of it ever seems to come to fruition.
Not in Haiti, for sure.
Did I lose everybody?
No.
Boo, I'm here.
Oh, sorry, I had to leave for a second. I lost a PCB board somewhere. I was looking for it.
You smell it?
No, I was thinking, like, where the hell did I leave my last project in my room? And I looked, and I got distracted for like 4 minutes.
I'll get going. I like that. I know it. Sorry, I apologize. I hope that that's one of the reasons people watch.
Oh, because the crazy shit?
It's just, stuff is connected and but doesn't seem like it is at first glance. You know, and then as soon as you look a little bit deeper, that's you go to the follow the money thing, and then eventually you realize, wait a minute, all this money opens leads to the same. It's like the same people, really. Like that's what makes it even more frustrating. There's about 5,000 people that run the entire game. There's 7 billion of us. 7 billion. Come the fuck off.
7 billion. Yeah. 7 billion sheep, though. That's the problem. They're not humans. They're sheep.
And most of them have not a clue, that they're sheep.
Yeah, that's
they're out there grazing away, boy. Just grazing away.
Yeah, it's bliss. Like, you don't even realize you're asleep, which is why it works out.
Yeah, so you got 5,000 wolves who have a marginal IQ, better than them, and they run the show because you're dealing with sheep. It's like, what? That's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah.
Occasionally, I run across people that tell me straight up, "I don't want to know," and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And I kind of just like my jaw. I don't even know what to tell them. I just
like I think they felt like maybe somebody was like driving this ship, or I think people do find a little bit of like solace that the world is the fairy tale that they believe it is.
Oh yeah.
It's that they literally don't want to know. I think other people are more that they don't want to know, but then they take a little bit of solace that someone else may be fighting for them. Like they don't want to know, but Anonymous is looking into it. That kind of like I don't have to do anything because someone else might be.
I think our military in the United States here is about to change with Mattis resigning as Pentagon chief. He's a pretty all right dude, in my opinion. I mean,
well, he knows that America will see blood on its shores if we pull out. And
of where? Of Syria?
No, man, I don't believe that.
The only it's a joke. When has America been attacked? Like what? You know what I mean? Like what? The places that we count as being like horrible attacks, like we're invading their country.
There was the New York bombing, Twin Towers, which was debated, which was the internal, which was done by us, made it look like somebody else.
Okay, let's just not count 9/11.
All right, but the bombing before that at the Twin Tower, that was done by terrorists, though.
That's not.
But they didn't blow up anything.
Didn't we give them the explosives and the van and everything?
Yeah, we helped them.
So,
the Las Vegas incident.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, sweep that under the rug.
Yeah.
What did ISIS have to do with the? I mean, you hear what I'm saying here? Like, I'm not quite as scared of ISIS as they're making it sound.
Well, here's the deal. If you look at Afghanistan and how we didn't complete the road that we were going to build there, and then we left. Well, all the little sects inside there, they kind of rebuilt and restructured and used what roadways we did build to kind of strengthen in certain areas. And then we come back in a few years later and we're like, oh, no, we got to finish this job up. Well, we still didn't finish the job up. And we pulled out. Now
the job will never be done there.
Right, and that country's a total disaster. So now you look at Syria, and we know the job's not done. So if we pull out, which we're doing, it looks like, then we're just going to have to go back in and deal with a bigger problem later. But it's kind of like long run. That's good business in the long run, according to the military-industrial complex.
You didn't have a plan.
There was no plan.
There was no plan.
Chaos was the plan.
There comes a point where there isn't a win. You're never going to kill enough people to make them like you.
Okay, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is to feed the military-industrial complex.
That 100% is true, and for that.
Okay, so they're winning. They're winning, even though nobody's winning in our eyes.
I would argue that we have to continue the war in Syria to keep fighting ISIS. Like we have. To continue fighting ISIS, we have to continue to make ISIS members. To continue to make ISIS members, we have to be in Syria. And if we're not there, we can't make any more little terrorists.
We have to have a jihad so that we can get to Megiddo, right? I mean, this is what we're moving for.
I mean, yeah, if there's
Forget
a war
the
that
goal.
breaks out in Megiddo, I am going to Antarctica. I'll tell you what, man. Safest place in the fucking world.
You know, I would love to go to Antarctica and like not even look back. I really would. I'm serious, bro. I don't need one-way ticket only.
When it all collapses and the world goes to shit, right? I'm gonna make spikes. Like from all of the like future like apocalyptic movies, spikes are in. Like all of the roaming.
Yeah,
like,
we'll get some motorcycles and some spikes and be just like Mad Max.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
steal a gasoline tanker. That's going to be our tanker.
I'll just make spikes. They seem like that's the popular thing to do. It'd be good work, like you'd be working with your hands. The market for like weldable spikes has got to go through the roof during the apocalypse. Those don't come out of nowhere. I mean, you're like, hey, we're gonna go rape and pillage that valley. You know what this truck needs? More spikes. I know a guy. Does great work.
I would go with huge ships, like Preston said. Maybe I have like a huge ship and then just sail like across the ocean.
Oh, we get like panels on it, like the one that they had in Waterworld, but not all fucked up.
Oh, like the tanker that was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but now that we know that like, why wouldn't it be run by solar and wind?
It's actually an awesome idea, like a ship like the size of an aircraft carrier or something, and filled with like solar panels and stuff. Yeah,
that aircraft.
Maybe we can get Thor down there in South America or Antarctica, get this colony going.
He's already living in the
Arctic.
Since
we're all for it. Yeah. Well, he's in the Arctic though. We have to. Yeah, I mean this is the side of the hemisphere that's going to get blown up. We need to be on the other
farm
side.
too.
Yeah, what is it like in West Virginia or something, huh? I saw some pictures.
Yeah, and here we were giving the guy a bunch of shit, and he's actually onto the solution, as it seems. Because listen to his talk now. I mean, what happened?
I think he decided, I think he came to the same conclusion that relying on other people to get your goal is not the way to do about it, and you just need to do it yourself, and that's what he did.
He just needs to dive in your dumpster. That's all. He still needs you because he needs to dive in your garbage to get his free shit. Remember that.
I like dumpster diving.
And we should have him back on sometime, you know.
Free shit up the favorite. I will turn my pickup around in a fucking heartbeat. But these dumbasses threw this shit away.
Well, just explain to him that he's in the wrong hemisphere. It's like, Thor, you got a great idea. We see where you're going with this, but you need to go south.
Well, yeah, you can farm all year round, once you get a little closer to the equator.
And we won't give you any shit, and we'll actually promote you because you're actually doing something that we might need to save our ass someday,
Going to Fiji. I don't care what.
He knows. He knows he's on the right track with that stuff, but yeah.
I love Thor. I love Thor. I just don't like being screamed at quite so often.
Well, it's a master-slave relationship. Takes a little getting used to.
I totally love your fucking your energy and your direction, but fuck off, man. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him since he got his farm. I haven't. Only a few demanding messages, but lately.
Oh, he talked to me. Yeah, he talked to me like yesterday or something, Tyler. And if I didn't respond right now, I was responsible for destroying the universe. So.
Oh shit!
Well, that's a threat. Yeah, that's serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's important because look, whether we are involved or not, this one feels like it's circling the drain. You know what I mean?
I don't want to be responsible for the destruction of the universe. I mean, what does he need?
He was having some issues on Discord, Discord server. He couldn't figure out how to write in there. I don't know.
The first time Discord, I knew this would lead to the destruction of the universe. I will agree with that as well.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I like his off-grid project, and I think others should have been doing this too. But yeah, I hope others will. I mean,
it takes a little money to go off-grid, man. It really does. Yeah. And out here in central part of the United States, it's kind of difficult, man, without money. You have to have some kind of income coming in.
Well, actually, there are places that you can buy in America that are dirt cheap. It's just getting the resources to turn the land into farmable land is the difficult part.
You're willing to buy land in like Arizona, fucking New Mexico, places that are radioactive in New Mexico. They practically give that land away.
Yeah, there's like you can buy land. It's just like getting the resources to turn it into farmable material is a little difficult.
It takes even longer when you do it his way, and it's all part of a grift. That takes that much longer, when you've got your hand out.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's better just to do it all yourself and start from there. That's somebody's got to dump the money in the first place, and then you can build on from that.
Well, I mean, that's why you see a lot of people don't get to go off of the grid. Maybe the tiny homes, or you're normally older when you onto it, just because you've got enough saved to put down, $50,000, $60,000 to start something. And that's probably being pretty conservative with like numbers. 2,000 doesn't get you very far anymore.
No, not really. Well, it just depends on how open of a system. I mean, if you just need a rock cove to kind of, start your fire in and back into, I mean, that really wouldn't cost you that much. I mean, just how do you want to live?
Hopefully it has something you can burn on it, some kind of wood you can cut down, or, if it's barren land, then what are you going to do to stay warm there?
Yeah, but I mean, even then, if it's places where you got to cut wood to stay warm, I mean, if anybody's ever had a wood stove, that's a full-time job. Like,
shit.
Around, like, there was a whole bunch of us kids, so that worked out, right? One of us was just always chopping wood.
Well, now we got fat Americans that don't even know what an axe is.
Yeah, fuck. There's a couple of things that I get stressed out about, like people saying chop wood, right, and post hole digging. I never want to see a post hole digger. I had a guy tell me there's a fucking hydraulic post hole digger, and like I was all like, what the fuck is that? I look at a post hole digger now and still my shoulders hurt.
Yeah, I don't miss digging fence post holes or anything. No.
No, you figure the whole property out there we did with post hole digger. Yeah, we did. No.
Well, is there any real estate for sale in Antarctica, or do we just go down there and claim our shit?
No, it was established as it was dedicated to science by International Consortium in 2012. And
science.
Yeah, and
you can't go there without like a permit and stuff.
It's not.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you can. It doesn't belong to anybody. So there are, I think there's 20 nations that are there right now. Most of them have permanent bases. There's McMurdo, and the South Koreans have a pretty big one. So do the Russians and the Dutch. They have their own.
So this is kind of like the public land thing. It's like global land, and yet I have to get a permit to go there, and I'm not really. I really can't go there at the end of the day, right?
Right, not easily. You can't just go get on a plane or a boat and say that's where you're going.
Well, no, you can go on a trip on a tour, but you can only go to Antarctica during the summer season, and average cost is about $10,000.
And then there's all sorts of stuff that you can't do. You can't go to the center. If you go on Google Maps right now, even though they say that they've mapped it over and over and over again with NASA, you can't see any of it. You can't see any of the center of it. It's all blurred out. It's super weird.
Yeah. It's like a no-no. Yeah, you can go kind of look around for 10 grand, but yeah, I don't think you're going to see anything that they don't want you to see.
So
Yeah,
you
you
can't even pitch a tent on the shoreline or anything? That would be cool.
Well, I know for a while in Australia they had a flight that would go over Antarctica just for
No, I can tell you.
Yeah.
When we were in New Zealand, right? You could go to Antarctica, and the only way to get there was through the science vessels. So you would sign up to work at one of the science facilities there, or to help on the ship there, and you would get travel back and forth. There is no helicopter or plane trips back and forth, right? You go past the area, the point of no return. So once the ship goes past a certain point, the helicopters can't get to the ship and get back to land again to rescue you. Planes can't go back and forth in there, and there's kind of a low-level storm that's going on 24/7 between the bottom of New Zealand, right, and the top of Antarctica. From there, you can go to the science areas, but then the science areas don't go to the interior, right? They're just kind of at the coast, and then a couple 100 miles in that you get to on jets or on snowmobiles and shit like that. 6 month tours, 3 to 6 tours. I forget how it worked, but you do like a rotation 3 to 6 months. But there was all sorts of there was zones that you couldn't go to, areas that you couldn't take pictures of. It was basically like towards the waterway when you first pulled up, and then kind of away towards the ocean on the way back, and then that was it. So like all of the stories of there being like warm water on the interior, and like the pink flowers that are supposed to be in that freshwater lake that's in the middle. So there's supposed to be some areas that are caves and that are warm, however the air works there, and that there's liquid water there and these pink flowers that exist underneath the water. Now, I've never seen them, and I've never known anybody that has seen them directly because you can't go there, right? But that's one of the stories that you always hear back. A couple of old scientists say that they have snuck off and seen them, but it's hard to get there. And you can't like get any pictures out because they take them down, or they'll know that you went there. Super cool story, though. This is
so in other words, it's been militarized, and I can't go there.
Yeah, pretty much where the pink flowers are, where that area is where the Nazis once again also had a submarine. Right. This base, we actually sent, as goofy as that sounds, we actually sent our entire naval fleet down there because of this submarine fleet, and we hid it under the guise of a training operation, and then kind of hid the fact that we sent like 5,000 troops and our entire like big boomers in the Navy down there. That's the
Operation High Jump.
Yeah, Operation High Jump. And after that, it gets super murky. So they did build a base. The base is still operational, but does not exist, meaning that the program was never shut down. Where some of these programs, you can tell that because of freedom of information, the only reason that you get freedom of information is that they've shut down the program. If you write them and they tell you, we don't know anything about it and we've never heard of it on a program that you know exists, it's because it still exists. Right? So Operation High Jump and that whole, it turned into other things, which was a base building operation, and they pretty much built base into the ice, which may have been an extension of a Nazi base that was already there. Past that, guys, I don't want to go too far down it because it starts getting weird. And I know that sounds weird, but that's like the shit that was verified. Everything past that starts getting like really weird. So then you start.
Admiral Byrd wrote a journal, supposedly.
Admiral Byrd.
There we go.
Let's do it, right? So Admiral Byrd was pretty much driven out of the military because of his work in Antarctica. And then it starts, he's one of the people that has actually seen that lake that I was talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And he's a guy that would have been extremely hard to discredit. If he told you that he saw it, he fucking saw it.
Yeah, he was a rear admiral. Then that's like, whatever he says is like the gospel according to whoever.
Yeah. And and they pretty much first, when he said he was down there and he did this stuff, well, because Operation High Jump was classified, they tried to discredit him, which was hard to do. You know, this guy's got a stellar record. There was a reason why you picked him to go down there. And yeah, I mean, he starts getting into some really interesting stuff, whether it was, you know, lights, magnetic patterns, areas that, you know, why is this area so warm in comparison when they're telling us it's wall-to-wall ice? You know, why is it a big deal that this area is warm, right? So there was all sorts of possibly some other ways of travel within the Earth's crust, within our waterways, possibly walk away from anything that you really know about Area 51, where we got alien technology, or at least the direction may have been from this area. There may be some ruins of a civilization that there was pyramids that they flew over. Some of those pyramids have been documented by other sources and other scientists. That may be what some of the research is there for. There's a lot of weird shit when you get to Antarctica, right? Like I said, I don't want to go down some of those paths because it starts getting really murky and it's hard to differentiate, you know, secret military programs and secret military programs.
Well, you know, I've heard like weird shit, you know, from you know, I was like infatuated with Antarctica for a while, and so I remember I was watching a documentary on a scientist who was like in the middle of a patch of what was a desert in Antarctica where no snow would fall, and it was about 100 miles inland, and what they found was a seal carcass, and they don't know how long it's been there, but it's 100 miles in, you know, and how the fuck did a seal get there?
Well, I mean, there's seal. I would imagine he got lost.
Well, 100 miles in, I mean, that's like kind of like weird, and you know, it's a frozen carcass, so they weren't sure how long.
Yeah, I mean, there's melting going on. He may have been following a waterway. I mean, you see seals all over that area between New Zealand, Australia. I mean, even in the you know, when you're getting to the warm part of you see seals, and even you know, well, all sorts of sea life, but seals and sea lions specifically. I wouldn't think it would be that weird to find one at weird, you know, to find one at a weird distance. It would be a red flag if you found like 30 in one place.
That's true.
You know? Or you found like a hunting ground, but one lone seal. Shit, people get lost in the middle of nowhere. You know, you look at the bodies they find in Siberia and everywhere else, where just your ass fucking got frozen in the middle of nowhere. You just would not stop and ask for directions.
Drive my gas out first. I ain't stopping to ask.
Yeah, nah, fuck this neighborhood. But Antarctica's weird in that, like, I mean, you can pull it back. Like, we can go. It's anonymous. We got access to all sorts of fun, you know, information about what goes on down there. We can give you the stuff that's like verified true, and then the stuff that's like that you get that's the stories and the stuff that's most likely just as real. You know, there probably is something going on up there. Why they would keep it secret is the question.
Yeah, it's just a gray cloud of not knowing, and
yeah,
it's scary. That to me is scary, because what are they hiding? What are they preventing us from knowing?
Yeah, and it's like, what could be up there that, look, man, I'm not very freaked out by very much. So I mean, the fact, well, there's an ancient civilization back there. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Like, okay, so it could rewrite the history books. Well, that really causes you a problem, not me. I'm already came to terms with it. Not
the truth would rewrite the history book.
Yeah, like the things that they make
just the flat out truth would rewrite history.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to bother me as much as it bothers you, right? Well, that there may have been an ancient civilization in Earth. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Sounds about right. It's a planet. Okay, I'm cool with that. Well, you know, there could be aliens out in the universe. Cool. They may have been.
Shit, really.
All right, man. Are you gonna be okay? It just
and about like rewriting history books. It depends on what history books, right?
I have
public
investment in the writing of history books, so that really doesn't bother me. I'd like my history books to have, you know, truth in them.
They get rewritten all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even now when you start going, and they're like, well, we're gonna have to rewrite the history books. This could cost millions. Oh no, I can update the wiki myself. No problem. I'll save you guys the money. Internet's super easy to update.
Yeah, but you know these records exist, right? From the Nazis traveling to like the Antarctica and stuff. So it all depends on like what do you regard as history books. The records are there. It's because they're not written down in your high school history books. I mean,
all of that is truth. Admiral Byrd is truth. Our secret missions up there. The Nazis having a submarine base up there. One of the reasons for the Nazis having a submarine base up there was one of the places that they were hoping to escape with. That was on one of the lists for Hitler to escape to by submarine. And they would live up there in their happy little Aryan compound in Antarctica. That's also the route to get it, the stopping point to kind of make this V trip into South America was where they ended up in the end. And that is also pretty much verified at this point.
Yeah, and what's also verified is if you go to the records of the U-boats, then you can also easily verify that there are many, many U-boats missing. They all went out, but they never returned. So yeah,
this is called the Rat Line. So you know, if you've got, it was pretty much the Underground Railroad for high-ranking Nazi officers. This is how they got to Argentina. How they got to. This is where you make those connections, where it always leads back to the same places. So to be honest, our involvement in Antarctica actually leads to the Nazis in Argentina, in South America, from that hop and from those U-boats. And they pretty much leave Europe with the Nazi leadership. Some of them make it to America. Some of them make it to South America. Some of them make it to Central America. Some of them never make it at all and get lost at the bottom of the ocean. And some of those have been found as well. But that was why they left. But it's not, that stuff isn't conspiracy stuff, guys. You can go and look it up, you know, right now. Look at the military records and the investigations, and even some of the work that the Nazi hunters that the Israelis had pushed out. Some of these guys were the real deal, and hunted these Nazis all over the world and kind of exposed this rat line. And the things that we know about Project Paperclip and some of the stuff that we know about where these Nazis ended up were because of those Jewish Nazi hunters. So these were guys that, like, your family was killed in the concentration camp, so you were part of the resistance. And when the war ended, like, they continued to find Nazis, right? Doesn't matter whether you're buddies with the U.S. or not, right? I'm hunting your punk ass down.
Yeah, that's what they did, for sure. Yeah.
Where are those guys? Come on, we got fascists going on. Rise up.
Well, I suspect the Antarctic move is the same like you see in the northern part. In the Arctic, there was a push for countries to make a claim to the Arctic for the resources that are there. You know, mainly oil. You know, there's really no land there. But on the Antarctic, it'd be the same thing. It's like you have to know there's a lot of resources and minerals and all the rest of it down there, you know.
Well, yeah,
so you have to claim it, you know.
Well, yeah, the Arctic is you know, there's actual land under there. When the Antarctic the Antarctic there's land, but the Arctic there's none.
Well, and it's that fucking shipping line, and this is one of those things where, like, you start seeing bigger pictures, where it's like, wait a minute, you guys started doing contracts through a shipping line that could not and would not exist without global warming. Right, the reason that those melt at current, when they were coming out and telling you guys, oh hey, right, look, climate change doesn't exist, climate change doesn't exist, it's all a lie. At the same time, they're making contracts and setting up contracts for a shipping line that could not exist, and this is 30 years before people are talking about climate change, that could not exist without climate change. Like, they saw and knew that this was coming and still did not care. You know, it's like, how long did you know about what was going on, or the effects of what you were doing, right? Well, wait a minute. We look out on paper at the current rates, pumping fucking coal into the environment at this rate. Fuck, we'll have a shipping lane in the next 50 years. Boom, money.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan. Well, and then there's oil up there. That's the other thing. They already know there is oil in the Arctic Ocean. They've sampled it, so that's why it's important. You want the resources.
Somebody should inform them that we're not going to need it. We're just not doing that anymore.
It's all about oil.
Yeah, thanks. I'm good. We've got.
I know you guys want to keep it in the ground, but it's really all about oil. You know.
It always is.
The most obsolete fuel there is. We don't need it, but that's what keeps the economy going, I guess. Because they have us cornered.
But what about oil profits? Are you not taking oil profits into consideration? Like, why get power from the sun when you could dig it up from the bottom of the ocean, transport it thousands of miles, refine it, and then use it to pollute your own environment? That sounds like a plan, right?
Make a lot more money doing that.
Yeah, look, if God wanted you to have free, unlimited power, he would have put a giant fusion reactor in the sky.
Well, you still need oil to lubricate all the bearings and
the fusion reactor,
and to get rid of the friction of industry. You still need oil, man. I mean,
you need oil to make plastic.
Fucking transmissions and shit still need oil, and gearbox.
I think we can use hemp oil for all of them. So yeah, for both of those, pretty sure you can use hemp oil for.
Oh wow, yeah. Then when I drain my transmission, I can just smoke the oil, right? I mean, that'd be cool.
Exactly. You remember when Homer Simpson got an alcohol-driven car? It'll be exactly like that. Like, one for me, one for the car. One for me, one for the car.
There's nothing really wrong with ethanol-based cars. They just burn hot.
Well, I mean, the truth of the matter is there is energy absolutely everywhere around us. There's no shortage of energy, right? We gotta have systems built into our environment just to keep them from bursting into flames at any fucking moment. There is plenty of energy. It's just getting away from the mindset that the only place we can get it is from the center of the earth. Like, it's pretty much one of those things where it's like anything other than oil will work. Like, anything other than petroleum will work. Anything, really. Like, there isn't... every month they come out with a new thing. Oh, did you know you could get power from this? Did you know you could get power from that? Pretty much anything. Pretty much you put two of anything together, and you can get power from it.
Yeah.
And in most cases, if you pull two of anything apart, you can get power from it.
You can get power from a fuel cell.
Name two things that you put together that you can't get energy from.
Well, water doesn't burn.
Well, you can make
yes, it does.
You can make electricity
Separate.
from water.
If you separate it.
Yeah, if you separate it, if you evaporate it, yes, it does.
But even then,
I guess you could pull electricity from.
There's two things here, right? So, I mean, that's a good example. Boom, water. I'll give you both. So, number one, right, you can use water wheels to do everything. We've used that to power the world since, like, we could power the world. And number two, did you know that if you just put two pieces of copper on each side of a waterfall of any running water, with just the water running by it, it'll start creating electricity?
Wait, what?
So you take two pieces of copper, right? Any two pieces of copper in any running water. So any water that goes by it, whether it's a waterfall, whether it's your running faucet, any water that's going from up to down, right? Going by it, dripping water, any water that runs over it, right? As the water goes by, within a couple of minutes, it'll start creating electricity.
Is that what, from a transfer of electrons? No.
Well, yeah.
No, is it?
And
I wonder about that one.
Of the electrons past it starts creating electricity, and you could be already getting electricity from the water wheel. Like, just the waterfall, just water moving makes power.
Oh yeah.
Cooling makes power. Hot to cold makes power. Cold to hot.
Well,
makes
you can
power.
make you can make electricity for magnets, and And wires, yeah.
There isn't anything that you can't make. You put two of anything together and you can make power. It's a joke that you can only like. That's the thing that they're constantly trying to hide. That's the truth. Power is all around us, literally all around us.
Well, you can make electricity from acids and combinations of metal like zinc and copper, and you can make electricity out of alkaline or
kinetic energy, right? You can, there isn't. That's the deal, right? Name two things, and I'll tell you how to make power from it.
Wood.
Well, I mean, we already know how to.
Sand.
Sand.
Right? We can, and even if you want to go a step farther, look, I mean, like.
Actually, they do have silicon-based. Fuel cells. I just don't know what chemical they're using for the reaction.
And aren't they able to use like biological leaves to collect like solar energy? Right? Like I know that they've been working chlorophyll.
No, the only thing I know that the only advancement in solar technology was to use what they're calling nano photovoltaic cells, sandwiched in between glass. It's something new that they're working on where they can get 1,000 times, 1,000 times of the wattage or current that they were able to in a square meter of what would, usually a kilowatt per square meter, and now they can get like 100 or something like that from the same size. And I know that's the new thing, but that's still in the experimental phase.
Yeah, I mean, if they took the subsidies that we're going to pay Shell this year and put them in research for that, we would have it like now.
Yeah.
If you $100 billion that we're going to give the oil companies, their oil companies, I don't know, they're really struggling. I just like the fact that we're going to give that much money to people that are already that much, that wealthy. Where if they put even a percentage of that to the research, better solar and wind and battery storage, it would change the world.
Well, I'm pretty sure that there's safe chemical electric ways we haven't even thought of. Chemical electric sources, but we haven't found of that are probably much safer than fusion. Hot fusion, what they were using for the nuclear, but. Cold fusion is something around the corner,
I mean, there may be energy sources literally right in front of us that we just do not see because we're not looking at it. We're busy murdering each other.
Yeah.
You look at things like just fire, right? Most of human existence, we did not use or know how to use fire at all. And that's so simple, right? It seems so simple. That energy was all around us and we had no idea how to use it.
Yeah.
For most, I mean, we're talking, 100,000 years of human history, and 80,000 of it we didn't buy, or the wheel, or electricity, right? Or Bluetooth. I mean, we're not, the progression is very, very, very slow. Chances are there's more we could possibly add. Right?
Did we lose him? Oh, it looks like we lost two.
Two at once. That's weird.
Wow, what happened?
I don't know.
We lost Terrence and Preston at the same time.
They're still showing in the chat.
That was weird.
That's weird.
Kicked them both at the same time.
Wow.
It never happened before, I think.
My wife said it's the Russians.
Probably.
Weird. I've never seen it do that before. Well, I've seen it do stuff like that before.
It's software. It's not perfect. So
Could be like a specific server they both are connected to or something. Like a server dropped or something from Google.
Yeah.
The Wall Fund is at 10 $10,539,920 right now.
Yeah, you said it would hit 10 million before the show ended, but we're not even. Yeah, we're maybe like halfway through now.
I mean, it's gonna be 11 million. I bet you, the way it's going. Yeah, the guy that started it was on tonight. He was on, let's see, Fox News with Laura Ingraham at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, he was just on the air not too long ago.
Who?
The guy started the GoFundMe, Brian Holfage.
Oh God.
Yeah.
There's gotta be some dirt on this guy.
Yeah, well, he's being used for sure. He's a tool of them because, like I said to you before, Tyler, he's the same guy who was like complaining everywhere in the media. He was like all over the media complaining that his Facebook page was deleted, and he was like a veteran and stuff. And now he's doing his entire GoFundMe from Facebook.
Yeah, he's missing like a hand and a foot, or I don't know, like 3 limbs. It said something like that. Yeah, he's pretty messed up from his time in service.
Yeah, but his story is kind of weird. First, he was like, getting all this media attention from the whole Facebook thing, and now he runs the GoFundMe exactly on Facebook. Like, why would you do that?
So that ladders to get over the Trump wall, that other GoFundMe I shared with y'all, that's run by another veteran who is actually a transsexual veteran. And her name is Clymer, Charlotte Clymer. Yeah, it was Charles before she had her sex change or whatever, but now her name is Charlotte Clymer. So, and she's got a GoFundMe for the ladders to get over the wall. And that has brought in 23 hours, $53,363 as of right now.
Okay, that's still a lot of money, but
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, $57,884. It just went up.
Yeah, that's making good progress. But it was that one was shared like 100,000 times already too.
Yep, 145,000 shares.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's amazing.
Yeah, like there is some big money behind this. Like there's some powerful people behind this stuff. Sure.
Yeah, I just I don't know, man. But at least they got one to climb over the wall too. You know, it makes me feel a little better.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. That was bad humor. I'm sorry. That was really terrible humor.
Yeah, well, like we discussed before, on what side are they even putting these ladders then? Because it's probably to keep Americans in.
You're gonna keep
really, you know, when I brought that fact up to some of the 3%ers I know that, you know, maybe the wall's to keep us in, they're like, well, I'm not trying to leave my country and I'll fight, you know, to my last breath. And I'm like, you don't get it, man. There might come a point in time when we got to go, you know? And they just, they wouldn't even see my logic at all. And I kind of, you know, I understand being proud and not giving up where you're at, but sometimes there comes a time when you have to leave where you're at, no matter what, you know? So, I don't know.
Yeah, so I do talk with other Americans, and some are like convicted in the past and stuff for crimes, and they are not allowed to travel. Like,
that's me. I'm not allowed to travel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So then combine it with the wall and stuff. They are actually doing stuff to keep Americans in too. So, yeah,
keeping us.
It's kind of. It's very scary. Are you back there?
Oh.
Is he back on?
I think Preston's back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I made it back.
So and then we were talking about expensive medicine, and we talked about it with you too, Tyler. Like that so many Americans go to Mexico and stuff for medicine.
Yeah, or Canada.
Or Canada, yeah.
Yeah, procedures. They're about, I would say, a third of the cost.
Yeah.
If you do some hunting around. So yeah, the dental, And I, I'd have to say, because I've looked at it myself, along the border, the Mexican medical is not that bad, especially if you do it, not their socialized medicine, but do it on the side. Paying people, I don't see much difference.
Good.
I'll tell you, I know a lot of people. I used to live in South Texas, and a lot of people did make trips to the border like every few months to go across to get prescriptions filled that were necessary prescriptions, not just for needing drugs, but medicines that they actually needed. And they would go over there just to save themselves a fortune. They couldn't afford insurance over here or premiums or deductibles or whatever. And I mean, it was a lot more common than you would think to see people going down there to Laredo or Brownsville even, to get their scripts filled.
Yeah, so and if you think about it, I mean, all these medical costs are rising and rising, and yeah, they might be scared of more Americans going to.
It's really scary, man, the cost of medical in America. I mean, I don't. I guess I'm kind of blessed to be on Medicare, but yeah, at the same time, I wish I wouldn't. So, you don't really have that big of a choice between doctors when you do have to go, and you may not be paying much out of pocket, but you're not really receiving care. You're just kind of receiving a Band-Aid, in my opinion.
Oh, with medicine?
Yeah, by far.
Well, yeah, the thing is that, in all actuality, the modern medicine is only 150 years old with the invention of morphine, but and antibiotics. I mean, it's still in its baby phases, but yeah, the future of medicine doesn't rely on pharmaceuticals. I believe it will start with genetic medicine, which is in its it's not in its baby phases anymore. It's in its I would say pre-adolescence, but
oh yeah, with that gene editing that's going on.
There's some things that are going on, like they found they've been doing. I saw this one guy who worked for Intel, and they had he was suffering from pancreatic cancer, and he got involved in some experimental medicine. He got on one of those rosters or those tests. You know where they give you medicine that isn't approved by the FDA yet, and it managed to stop the spread of his cancer. It didn't kill his cancer, but it stopped the spread of his cancer for about 2 years, and then it reemerged. But still, that's 2 years is pretty good to add on to your life from pancreatic cancer, which is 100% fatal.
Yeah, if you pay, I don't know what kind of experimental meds he was on, but I mean, it's kind of pricey.
We're doing millions of dollars, for sure.
I tend
to
like.
I know a couple of guys bankrupt themselves doing that.
Yeah, I like Royal Rife. Raymond Royal Rife. He grew and shrunk cancer with frequency, with vibration. He's known for making the electron microscope. And when he was doing his research, they burned down his labs and ran him off, and he ended up dying in his 80s of alcoholism. Because he couldn't proceed with his research, but he successfully grew and shrunk cancer cells using vibration. No chemicals, no nothing. So
yeah, a lot of people that end up finding cures for cancers die, or end up dead.
Yeah, or they lose everything that they've been working on.
Yeah.
No money in healthy people, man. Anywhere in the world, there's no money in healthy people.
No, and there's no money in driving your car on water either. But yeah,
you're exactly right. terrible, man.
Yeah.
It's all about making sure that people have a need for something.
Yeah.
Well, they don't make any money on any kind of natural solution. Natural remedy.
You mean like CBD
So
oil and marijuana, smoking marijuana?
Yeah, I mean, you really see that agenda now. It's like their fake GMO shit gets approved, but CBD, all these other things. Oh well, there's no test, there's no history, there's no nothing. So of course you can't have that. And it's just like, come on, it's obvious, man. You people, it's just all about protecting your corporate racket.
Yeah, the CBD in the lab, and I've known about 10 cases personally, with people that I know that they said it shrunk their tumors, It works.
Yeah, it does. I saw it with my dad. Before he got on the chemo, he was doing pretty good. You get on that shit, and you're dead about 2 or 3 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah, this chemo actually damaged your immune system. So, and your immune system actually can be adapted to actually fight cancer, but that takes some effort, right? I mean, there are a lot of anti-cancer therapies, and like I know a lot of European elite travel to Iceland, and they get like high doses vitamin C injections directly in their bloodstream. Seems to work too, like 100 to 150 grams.
Well, yeah, changing the pH balance of your blood would can do some drastic things.
Yeah, they compare it to like a chemotherapy, but without the side effects, and they like directly inject 100 to 150 grams of vitamin C into their bloodstream, literally, with like an infuse. What is the name in?
They'll dilute it in a D5W bag or saline solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dilute it. Yeah. That's how they do it. Yeah. And then these richies pay a lot of money for it too. So. Yeah, we are all put in these chemotherapies that literally kill us.
Well, yeah, the theory behind proton therapy, is that the gamma radiation destroys the not only the cells but destroys the DNA, which stops the growth of the cancer cell, but it also destroys the immune system in the body at the same time. Mm-hmm. So you're literally when you're doing proton therapy, or you're doing which is essentially chemo, or most oncology medications are literally killing you at the same time. It's a lot of
the strategy. The strategy behind chemo is that, of course, that cancer cells are a little weaker, so they will die first.
Yeah, but that's not always the case,
No.
Yeah, the toll it takes on the body is just tremendous.
Oh yeah, your hair doesn't grow back. Your sex drive is never really the same. Your thought process will be slower. You might lose. You might have dental problems for the rest of your life. But at least you don't got cancer. You might be fatigued all day long.
Oh, and you're definitely going to be seeing a doctor the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah,
that's the part
very
they
important.
Want. Yeah.
Like when my dad, it's like he just had a raging infection, man, and he had like no signs at all. It kills your immune system so bad that you other things get you, and then I go, oh well, he had cancer. It's like, yeah, but your shit killed him, man. I mean, come on, that was.
Yeah, the gamma radiation will kill your WBCs, and if you don't have any more WBCs, then you don't have an immune system.
Yeah, there was a gal down the street that had almost like 3 or 4. She got sick about the same time as my dad, and she decided not to do anything. She just went the natural route, like piss on it. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I think she died like a week or 2 before my dad. It's just like it didn't even do any good. So all those doctor's visits and all that shit you're going through, and all the sickness and all the rest of it, it's like whatever, man. You're just wasting your time, I think.
For the most part,
and
I mean,
Yeah, and they've got what, a 1 to 3% success rate, which hasn't changed like since the 1950s.
Yeah,
Really,
with most,
you know,
with most,
whatever.
yeah, with most, when chemotherapy, it's like it's only successful if you catch it in its early stages.
Yes. So why bother? I mean, placebos do more for you than that.
Yeah, Steve Jobs.
You almost have to wonder if it's not all placebo, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean Steve Jobs, he held on. He had pancreatic cancer, and he held on there for a long time, doing alternative therapy. But everybody knows that that pancreatic cancer is 100%, 99% of the time you will die. You will die from it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bad one.
Which also makes me think that people who usually get pancreatic cancer probably were alcoholics at one point in their life. That's always a common trait with pancreatic cancer. But
so beer bad?
well, no. Well, I mean a lot of alcoholics, long-term alcoholics get what's known as pancreatitis, which is an inflammation of the pancreas. But you keep on having pancreatitis off and on, and cancer thrives in constant irritation of the cells. I'm pretty sure I'm right there. But, I wonder who's got his Buddhas from Antarctica. Somebody was listening to me.
Yeah, well, with cancer, yeah, I don't think they want to treat it. I think in the end they want to make it like a chronic disease, so you just have to get new medicines every week. That's probably what they want, to make enough money from it.
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially, I remember when I used to work in the hospital and I used to work with oncology medication, a dose of that with the IV oncology medications costs around, before your insurance covers it, is about $20,000 a dose. So,
Yeah, it's incredible.
so
How in the world could anybody afford more than a dose, I mean,
that's between you and your insurance company.
right. I mean, that's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think at that point, my way of thinking is like, hey, look, if let's say you were a guy with a family and you had a nest egg, $100,000 or so. It's like, at that point, you just have to say, well, hey, look, I'm not going to bankrupt my family to save myself to pay a bunch of you fucking doctors who aren't going to probably save me in the end anyway. You just let it go. You just say, well, better to keep that money with my family than to give it to a system. It just could be by design.
Oh, design?
Yeah.
All the way from the architect on, buddy.
Yeah, because that's the problem with fascist healthcare. They can design it to make the most money out of you. And socialized medicine would be a concern about the person and getting you well and all those sorts of things. But in fascist healthcare, it's about how much money we can make off of you.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's what they do.
most of Europe, you don't, most countries, actually, let me see, Israel and most of Europe and Canada, they all have social what do you call it, socialized medicine, and you literally your monthly they take about $100 out of your paycheck a month, and you get pretty good health care, and that's kind of that's kind of what the United States needs to do is that would drive down the cost, because if the American government is flipping the bill instead of you know, going through Blue Cross Blue Shield, who are also hand in hand with the pharmaceutical companies. You wouldn't be paying so much for medical care. I mean,
yeah, that solves a certain amount of it. You know, the problem with getting the government in anything is they alone. I mean, this system right now is the worst because it's like an open season for the corporations.
Well, yeah, the government
squeeze you for anything they can.
The creation
if the
of
government
the FDA,
gets involved, you still have all the inefficiency there, but it's not as bad as a full blown what you got going on now. But
well, yeah, and in America, it's literally come to only the people who have money can take care of a broken arm and leg and traumatic injury, while poor people, the hospitals won't kick you out, but they're going to leave you with a hefty bill that you can't pay for.
Yeah, and that's always been the case. You know,
it sounds like a debtor's prison.
Yeah.
If you have more money, I mean, if you were the king years ago versus a serf, you lived longer too. You had more money, better health care even then. You know, so that's always kind of been the case. But yeah, it really doesn't have to. In today's world, it doesn't have to be like that because the medicines honestly don't cost that much. When you can get something, you know, 1,000 a dose here is, you know, $5 in India or some shit like that. I mean, there's all kinds of examples of that. So it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, most medications don't cost more than to make a pill on average don't cost more than about $5. It's all about markup and how they're marketing and what it can do. You know, like when it came to the first batch of the Hep C vaccine, the cocktail, the pills that you take for 2 months, all it is a medication that adds a protein onto the Hep C virus, and it really didn't cost $90,000 to make. In fact, when you were getting the India prices, which were $900 for full 2-month treatment, or $900, that was still too much. It really should only cost about $90. You know.
Yeah.
About $1 a pill.
So you're getting hijacked, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was the company that was marketing it. They got into a lot of trouble and had to give, I think about 40% of their stock they had to give away to charity because it was nobody had 90,000. Most people who had Hep C were drug addicts and are recovering addicts, and a lot of them didn't have a lot of money. So after a lot of legal pressure, they had to cave in. But still, charging $90,000 for a life-saving medication is ridiculous.
Yeah, if you had a real government that was looking after you in some kind of consumer protection scheme, that wouldn't fly anywhere. You know, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, you know. But, you know, this is America. That's called good business, right?
Oh, well, they are looking after us, looking after our pocket to make sure it stays empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, believe me, they care. They just care the wrong way.
Well, yeah. Now they invented. You know. It's funny. I mentioned the Hep C, the original medication. Now they have a new one called Maverick, which is because the old medication only had an 80% success rate. This one is a 95% success after a month of taking pills. And I am debating whether I haven't even checked. They're probably charging an arm and a leg for that. Let's see, Maverick pills. I think it's called Maverick. Maybe not. Yeah, it is. Oh, sorry. It's Maverick, not Maverick. Yeah. Anyhow, delving into territory where only I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Jeremy Hammond maybe moved to another facility. If you guys are not up to par about who Jeremy Hammond is or how he fits into the Anon community, Jeremy Hammond was involved in the Stratford hack and ties into Barrett Brown and the whole Sabu thing that happened in 2012, and was arrested and got 10 years for a electronics crime. He was one of us, and in the last few months in November, he was at a federal correction facility and had he pushed the day room door and didn't know there was a deputy behind it, and a deputy was hit. Deputy threw him into solitary confinement for 2 weeks. Jeremy didn't know that there was a deputy behind there, and he's out now and was able to relay to his Twitter team about what had happened. But they are going to he may be moved in another facility in the next few days over that incident. But
yeah, he's been in isolation for a while, right?
2 weeks. He's been out for about 2 weeks. But honestly, it was bullshit. Putting him in solitary because a guard got pissed off because he got hit, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's got a good 5, 6, 7 years now. 6 on it.
No, he'll be out in 1 more year.
Yes, he's not far from the finish line, but
yeah, because in federal
years of his life, you know.
Yeah, federal you only have to do 80%, so it'll be 8 years.
Well, let's hope he gets out on his first, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he probably won't be able to own electronics or to use a computer for 3 years. That's kind of like that's kind of like the standard for like a federal electronics crime.
Yep. You know, it sucks when you're in solitary, man. It really does. I mean, you find stuff to do, but you know, if they don't bring you sometimes your belongings and any books, you know.
No, not really. I mean,
sucks,
I've been in solitary before. All you got was a piece of toilet paper. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
If you were lucky.
Yeah.
What else? For the first time in months, cryptocurrencies trend hasn't followed Wall Street's losses, which is kind of odd, and that happened today.
Yeah, that was kind of odd to hear.
Yeah, it passed 4,000, even though the stock market crashed today again.
You know, our stock market crash is just a modified setting in the timeline, man. They already knew when they were going to do that.
Well, yeah,
right before
Trump keeps on saying how our stocks, how the market is going good, and it's all because of him. And everything that he's done, you know, starting shit with the Chinese and starting shit with Canada and Mexico and the G20 summit, and you know, everything that he's doing is scaring investors.
Right, and well, yeah, you can't blame the investors because, hey, well, hold on, you know, these tariffs, that's enough to scare any investor from putting money anywhere. So, yeah, you would have to really blame. Okay, maybe not blame, but yeah, look in the direction thereof of, you know, those that are placing tariffs and causing.
You know what I thought is, you know, how arrogant can he be that he thinks that his decisions are affecting the stock market in a positive way? Like, what kind of delusional world does he live in?
Very delusional, to be honest, in my opinion. But that's, again, my opinion.
Well, you know, like,
you see how
his own horn all day. I mean,
well,
he doesn't.
Not only has he fucked up our relations with the Chinese, he's also fucked up the relations of the Chinese with the Canadians, so much so that the Chinese, after that Huawei CFO, the daughter of the, well, she is a CFO, but she is a daughter to her father is the owner, the CEO of Huawei, and they have very close political ties to the Chinese Communist government, communist government, and they said, "Let her go, or you will face the consequences." Literally, and now a third Canadian citizen in China has been arrested. They're playing hardball. What the U.S. government and the Canadian, the U.S. asked Canadian government to arrest them on our behalf for breaking of trade sanctions because they said that they were selling phones to the Iranians that are under a false name. It hasn't been proven in court. It's all hearsay, and I'm sorry, I don't know what the Trump administration or the Canadian government was thinking that this was going to be a great outcome. But when you play hardball with the Chinese, they're going to fuck you over, you know?
Yeah, they have that ability. They really do.
Yeah, I mean, they have some pretty talented businessmen and people that and ties to and businesses that have ties to the government, and
they do it for country, not for
when you try to dismantle the fifth largest company and you arrest the daughter of the company. The fifth largest company in China, it's like you're gonna face some consequences, and this is not gonna end well, you know.
No, they're usually all, I suspect her dad's probably a general in the army, and of course they're all party members, so yeah.
I
protecting their own.
I just don't. You know what I don't understand. I've said this a couple of times on this show. In the past episodes, is I don't understand how there was an arrest made, and usually when a company breaks a trade embargo or trade sanctions, there's a fine affiliated with it, not jail time and arrests.
Right.
This is the first time I've heard where there's been an arrest and an extradition request to go to the United States to face more charges in the United States. And this happened after the G20 summit, where Trump was talking to who was he talking to? It's somebody in China, a Chinese president.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his
Xi
name?
Jinping.
Yeah.
So this is not a really good situation at all. And what they really need to do is say, hey, the easiest way out of this to not make this pursue any further is deport her and not let her come back to the United States, and this will be that, and then they may be able to recover what has been fucked up from this arrest, but when you mess with family in high places, you're gonna get fucked.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
It was not a smart move, I don't think at all, and it'll play out.
Yeah, I don't know what anybody was thinking. I don't understand how this would turn into a good situation at all.
Well, this is the problem though. When you have anything at once at any time, this is what you get. It's all about following international law until it's time for us to do something we want, and then we don't care. And we do this all the time.
Yes, we do. And that's the sad part.
Here you go. Now you've gotten into it. So it's like because you have no authority. It's like you've been saying. I mean, it's just like.
Well, not only that, so they sold. So even if they sold cell phones to Iran. Should that equal jail time? I just don't see that. I just don't see it that way.
I mean, we don't jail anybody here for blowing up the economy, 10 years ago and costing us.
No, instead we shut down the stock market, for a day.
They're screwed up and they're rich and they drove everything into the ground. So we had to save them, because that's what America does now. It's retarded. Anyway, anybody that says too big to fail, you now know you're not in a free market capitalist system, because that would never fly.
Yeah, I just good job, Trump.
Hey,
now going back there,
his entertainment value is just that's got to count for something.
Well, it was like Obama. So you had, there was all that hope and change, and what did that last? That lasted 2 or 3 years. Then I think most people started realizing, hey, this guy's he's another talker, he's just a front man for a bunch of criminals. You know, he's really not going to get that much done.
Most of them don't.
You know, so the luster wore off, and you know, same thing with here with Trump. It's like there's this big, you know, you think something's going to happen, you know, the hope for the future and all that. So the stock market goes up. Yeah, and then he associates that with himself. But you notice when it's going down, he doesn't have anything to do with that. That's the Federal Reserve doing, you know, which it is interest rates, you know, going up. But you see the tactic is to distance yourself from it when, you know, because it's a one-way deal. You know, I only talk about my accomplishments.
So, yeah. Speaking of the Federal Reserve, I remember when Trump was trying to was doing his campaign in 2015 or roughly early part of 2016. He said he would go after the Federal Reserve, right? So the Federal Reserve, right, on yesterday said that they would raise interest rates, and you know what he says? He says they should probably rethink what they're doing because the economy is going strong. That's not going out. Doing it in a tweet is not going after the federal government or the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve.
Yeah, this is what you get with political warriors. Is a lot of bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you get is a tweet. You know, because they're not going to stand up because they don't stand for anything. They're not going to stand up for anything. You know, like doing something about the Federal Reserve. You know, when it's all a stroke of the pen. When you get down to it, it all came into being with the stroke of a pen. You get rid of it with a stroke of a pen. Oh, but not with these political cowards. No, because they would have to stick out their neck and actually keep a promise, like building a wall. You know. Stupid shit like that, you know, not stupid, but simple, you know, and yet it still hasn't been done.
Yeah,
whatever. You know, it's, you know, people are slowly, and then what's really going to kill them with the right wingers is this bump stock thing. It's just like, what the hell are you doing? You know, and then you got the NRA for it and all these other groups, and you're like, well, you guys are just this is the same old sellout you get with Republicans over and over again.
You know, those bump stocks, they don't help you shoot more accurately. They do allow you to get some shots off a little quicker if you need to, but they don't help you shoot more accurately in any way whatsoever, you know? And it's kind of I don't know, man, because to me, they don't
that's not the point. You know, it's like the point is the government, have no reason to be in that business, and you're not supposed to be in that business. But
this is true.
You're doing what you do and playing your game, and as a result, Mr. Wonderful is going to lose support because it's like, well, you know, you're going to do all these things like the wall. You say you're going to do all these things, and you're 2 years down the road, and none of it's happened.
None of it
happened. And now you've lost the House because you're such geniuses, and you know, because if we just give you every branch, you know, you'll be able to do all this stuff.
Oh no, wait! He created a new branch. You got it all,
too. Well, the Space Force too, yeah. Well, but then you don't do anything. You got all the power, and then you chuckleheads did. For 2 years did nothing, and now you're because everybody's like, well, we gave you everything and you didn't do shit. Well, of course you're losing support because you guys suck. You don't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, why are we losing elections? Well, because you suck. You know, you'd quit being such ballless cowards and, you know, be actual warriors instead of political warriors, which equals cowards. Then you would get reelected. But if you're just going to be a bunch of Marco Rubios and Scott Walkers and the rest of the Rhino bunch, you know, well, then who really gives a shit, right? You're no different than the rest of them.
Yeah.
Sad, but
yeah, it's so disgustingly sad, man.
I'm surprised impeachment hearings haven't started.
Oh, they will.
There's talk of it, or at least, you know, there's a few news articles here and there I'm seeing about it, but none of them really have have all their ducks in a row yet.
Well,
Because here's the thing. Democrats know how to play politics. They will get that done because they know how to play politics. These Republicans, they can't fight themselves out of a wet paper bag. You know, they don't know what the hell they're doing.
I've noticed.
Totally disgusting. Yeah, I've watched this. I mean, I'm old enough. I've seen this 3 or 4 times, man, how the cycle goes. You know, it happens every time. Because these people are so cowardly and so pathetic, it always turns out this way.
I'm just so sick of this 2-party system, man. I mean, it's so shameful.
You know, at least throw in like a third in there.
Something, man.
And the funny thing is that we do have multiple parties within the United States. You just never hear of them, other than the Green Party or
Yeah, and allegedly they only get 1% of the vote here and there. It's like, I'm actually supposed to believe these numbers,
No, the numbers are fake because the voting machines aren't right either. They're always
it's all fake, Every bit of it is fake. Who in their right mind would trust an electronic machine? Everybody the world over knows you don't trust electronic machines. So why do we have them here? Because we're corrupt. That's
what's
why.
Funny is, for like Who Wants to, or what is it? One of those shows on TV where they have the phone-in polls and stuff. Why can't we do that? Evidently, those work. I mean, what is that? Those shows where they have the people come do little stuffs and then they become famous.
Oh, let's see.
You know what I'm talking about. No,
I'm not sure.
Oh, well, they come and they dance and stuff on stage. I guess Who Wants to Be Famous or Who Wants to, I don't know.
Oh, and you're saying they take an immediate poll over the phone. Yeah.
Right. And those seem to be pretty accurate, At least they don't take 3 weeks to do recounts.
Well, they asked them to press 1 or 2. It's easy.
Yeah. Well, the new Democratic tactic is if you don't get the votes you want, you just keep voting and you keep finding more votes until you win. It's actually a great strategy.
Oh, it's the best I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody just goes along. You see all the Republicans going, oh, well, they found some ballot in some parked car at the airport. It's very suspicious, but we'll have to count them. It's like, really? Since when?
They found a bunch of boats on the Ark, man. They haven't found the Ark, but they did.
Yeah, they find them at the grade school.
Ballots.
It's like, what are ballots? And nobody asks. It's like, well, what were the ballots doing in the janitor's closets at some grade school? Well, why were they there? How did they get there? It's incredible. And then of course, what's the response? It's like, meh, because we're good sheep in this country and we just do what we're told and believe the shit that's thrown in your face. You just go, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds all very logical. Yeah.
And here in Florida, watching the Broward County comedy show go on. I mean, dude, that county has been in the news this year for so much stuff. And then to see that again this year, they can't even get their election right for weeks. I mean,
yeah. And then you have the elections administrator who it's like, yeah, we've caught her doing this before, and you didn't do anything. Oh, okay. Well, then she needs to count it. Yeah. Well, then let her count them again. Oh, big surprise. There's problems. Oh, gee, who would have thought? And you're supposed to, look at that and say, oh, yeah, that's legitimate. That's what legitimate government looks like. That's right. I forgot. It's like.
And then you got crackhead Rick Scott, that he looks all wired out every time you see him, like he ain't got a clue what tomorrow is. Oh, gosh, man. Yeah.
They have a great way. These corporate parties have a great way of pushing mental midgets into positions of leadership, and then they got you. It's like, if they ever look like, like you're saying, this guy out there, if they ever look like they're clueless, there's a reason for that, because they are.
The guy can't put his pants on a damn butler beside him, a nanny to take care of him, but there he is, leading the state. Oh, gee, I feel very confident. Man.
It's a key, right? You know, doesn't matter what you say, it's what you do. But oh no, man, if you're a good Florida sheep, you just meh, meh, you know.
Yeah, just keep drinking the fluoride water. We got them right where we want them.
and then when you find the gal is done it, you know, and is you know, making false counts and all the rest. A second time, what do you let her do? You actually.
Uh-oh. You lose him?
I don't know. He's still on. It shows he's still there.
Yeah.
You there?
I don't know where he went.
He said, yeah.
Oh.
He's 7 hours ahead or whatever. You're like.
What happened to Terrence anyway? He disappeared. He never came back.
Not sure.
I think his bonus points must have run out at the Starbucks Wi-Fi.
Oh. So, this weekend, France.
Oh, wait a minute. Can we talk about that?
Can we talk about it? Just not as long as we don't.
Let's talk about it.
John, you there? John?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
They want to talk about France.
Yeah, like Act 6. I mean,
yes.
the sixth protest. It seems to be growing still. I mean, it's getting more active in more countries now, and in France, the same amount of people continues to go on the street, regardless of the fact that Macron already gave in to a few of their demands. They just want more and more because now they finally see who is the.
I think they have a right for more, man. I feel that those people deserve more.
Yeah, of course, but yeah, that's what I was about to say. I mean, now they can they finally see that it's actually the people in control, and that these politicians actually get scared when large numbers of people rise up and fill up the streets, and and now they see they have the power, so they will just demand more and more, and they deserve it, of course. Yeah, I mean. These people in France, like we talked about it last week, I think too. I mean, they make it so expensive for these people to travel. The gasoline costs are already super high there, and I mean,
well, the tax in general, they're too high there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's everywhere's pretty high, but yeah, I think they're suffering a lot worse than what a lot of the world really understands. You know.
Yeah, but you have to know that they do pay like we pay the same amount, by the way. They pay like 10 or 11 bucks for a gallon of gasoline, right?
I just can't fathom that. I really can't.
Man.
Of course, I don't really buy fuel because I don't have a license and nor a car. But
no, we pay the same amount in here too. I mean, it's very expensive.
Oof, man, it's like $1.88 here, man. A gallon.
And 50-something cents or 60-something cents a gallon of that is tax.
Yeah, it's really dropped here lately.
Yeah, so the fuel prices are 6 times as high in here. Yeah.
That's really gotten out of line. You know, I can remember a day when it was like European prices were like twice, and then they hit like 3 times what we were doing. But now you're getting into this range. It's like 4, 5, 6 times. It's like, what the hell's going on? I mean, you could really tell they've squeezed the European fuel market, and it's all tax. There's no reason for it to be that high.
I mean, they've squeezed it so hard that if that was a lump of coal, it'd be a diamond by now.
Yeah.
Really? Crap, man.
Yeah, but, you know, the weird thing is that it's cheaper in Germany and it's cheaper in Belgium than in here, but our country actually has like the largest oil company in the world, almost, like Royal Dutch Shell. I mean, they're like huge, these people, and still it's more expensive here than it is in countries like Belgium, and I don't really get it. Yeah, they're squeezing everything out of us. Yeah, and and other taxes are high too, and I mean, and in France. There's a lot more poverty too. I mean, the minimum wages are lower and all that stuff. So
I heard they taxed your. They did heavy taxes on people's overtime and shit. That's kind of fucked up.
yeah, yeah. But the biggest accomplishment for the Gilets for the Yellow Vest, and that's also the demand in other countries. That is the people's vote, so the people's referendum, so that the people can just start an initiative, and if the majority of the country or the majority of the people supports it, then it'll be done. And yeah, they seem to be listening to it in France now, and I know they want the same thing in here too, the Yellow Vest. So that will be like the major accomplishment, because that is what is wrong with the EU. I mean, we voted against the euro in a referendum. Still, the euro was introduced. Then there was a EU constitution created with like a EU flag and an EU national anthem and stuff. We voted against that, and they just changed the name to the Lisbon Treaty, and they introduced it anyway. So we are dealing with a very undemocratic institute, because they ask us to vote for it, and each time we vote against it, and they do it anyway. And it's like they ask our entire country to vote for it, and they do it anyway. So yeah.
Well, but you haven't. Well, but you haven't caught on though. That's the. See, you haven't caught on that they're lying to you, and they're going to cram an agenda down your throat. And if you'll put up with it, they'll keep doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean,
that's they've trained you. You know, it's like, oh, that's what you want. Well, we're going to do this anyway. Fuck you. Oh, okay. You know, oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, here, let's try that again. Oh, you want to vote for this? Oh, okay. Well, we don't like that. We're going to do it this way. Yeah, I mean, they do the same thing here to us. You know, you see local elections. I can point to a lot of things. It's just if they can get away with it, they'll do it. You know, it's their way of training you and teaching you how things are. And if you don't riot and demand it and burn the city hall down, then they'll just keep doing it to you.
I mean,
that's just.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, real quick. The referendum, the only place where the people's vote did actually matter was the UK. And you see what happened there. They left the entire European Union. So, yeah.
Well, they're still trying. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see if that. No.
Yeah, May don't listen to the people either. She's kind of.
Yeah. No.
She's batshit crazy. I'm sorry, but she really is.
No,
okay, well, there is 3 months left. I mean, in March they're officially leaving, so they got 3 months left. I hope they prepare for it, because yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, with the people, I don't know why they didn't see it coming away. It's like why the Europeans didn't see that this whole EU thing was just another mafia. That's really all it is. Like, they're gonna, you know, you can vote on it to join, and then but you can't leave, you know, because you're in a mafia now. You're in a gang, you know. You can get in, but you can't get out. It's just, I mean, who talks like that? Who
think that the votes, that the voting is more just so they can get a feel of what the people think, not really what they want to do. You know, I mean, but that's every country.
Well, you're dealing you're dealing with criminals who don't stand by anything they say. And you should have seen it coming. It's because, like, number one, why would you want another layer of government that doesn't do shit, tells you what to do, you know, et cetera, et cetera? Why would anybody want that? And then, you know, and then then the next thing, it's like, oh, you can vote again, vote to leave. Oh, but then when you do, you can't. Well, you're dealing with a bunch of thugs. These aren't leaders. You're dealing with criminals who are treating you like shit. And if you don't at least do what the French are doing, well, then you're going to keep getting a dose of it, because as long as you're just flag and banner waving and marching and singing songs and all that shit, nothing's going to change.
No, yeah, you're entirely right. Yeah. Iceland was smart. Iceland was smart. They left in time, but yeah.
Yeah, and they jail bankers. It just shows you, if you just do the things you're supposed to. It's like, you know, they say, oh, well, you can't jail us. We're too big to fail. Oh, really? And we just throw them in jail? Well, how come they can do it and we can't? Really? I mean, just that it's an obvious solution. You throw criminals in jail.
Well, George Carlin said it best. It's a big club, and we ain't in it to throw them in jail. You know, it's a big club. We ain't in it.
You can't get America. That's the thing about Americans. See, I mean, we still have too much money, and things are still going too good because we don't get excited and do anything about anything. I mean, you know, just look at our government and the shit they get away with. Nobody gets upset. Nobody. Neither, you know, even Democrats. It's like, oh yeah, you want to pull out? Oh, and now all of a sudden they're for war. I mean, they're all in the same team. You know, there is nobody, you know, putting up a fight, you know, about doing the right thing. You know? Oh, and if you steal some money here, all that, or the criminal nature of the last administration, all that business, it's like nothing happens. It's just all just a big joke. But nobody gets excited. It's like, oh well, you know, that's just the way it is. And oh, it's so pathetic. You know, it's a global phenomenon. But you know, you can point to any country, including my own, and say that. But it really is pathetic. You know? The only reason the French are doing what they're doing is because they got squeezed so hard, they finally hit that breaking point. You know.
Yeah, and they know they can't even leave because they are already financially, like, literally enslaved. So their banks are put in such deep debts that they can't even leave. They can't, if they want to, if they really wanted to, and they would really force them, then they have to switch back to the French franc, and their financial institutions are in such big debts that they would devaluate their French franc like 1% of the original value before the year ends. And I mean, it takes them a year to introduce a new currency. So that's on average. It takes a year to introduce a new currency. If you have a currency, it takes about a year to introduce it on the market. And while you introduce this, all the investors and stock investors, they will be pushed to invest against the franc, like they're doing against pound sterling too now. And it will drop in value so fucking fast. Like, but still, if they really want it, they should do it, even with their collapsing currency, and they should just nationalize their stuff like they're demanding, and yeah, then they can do it. They have to go like full force, like the whole package, like take everything away from these Europeans, because whatever they still have, they will take it away from them. They will destroy it from these French. So yeah, they do the same to Britain too. So what they do to Britain too, they tell all their investors, all European investors, to invest against British pound, and so the British pound drops in value, means the British companies are dropping in value, like in dollar value and in euro value. So what what their investors are doing, they are buying up all these cheap companies now. Even from Japan, they are buying British companies, and they're like literally buying off their entire economy. Yeah. So, yeah, you're speaking like you're talking about a hell for these people.
Yeah.
It's shameful, man.
Didn't they? Aren't they selling off Greece right now? They're selling. Greece doesn't belong to Greece anymore.
Yeah, and they did the same thing.
Wow, man.
No, they're selling it off. They've been selling it to countries. Yeah.
And what they did to Sweden was even worse. To Sweden, they did it completely. They crashed the entire Swedish economy and forced them into the eurozone. And I mean, it was this. They invested like the Swedes were refusing to get into the euro when the euro was introduced. They want to keep their own currency, right? So what these big investors did under the leadership of this George Soros and his friends, they invested against the Swedish krona, and they said, Sweden is going to collapse now because it is not going to be part of the euro, so invest against it. And the Swedish krona began to drop and drop, like became like worthless. And then they quickly moved into the eurozone. They switched to the euro and said, now we'll join. And then they were saved, and their entire financial market was handed over to the eurozone, literally. So yeah.
So just like the final step.
But they say like if you're part of the eurozone, that's kind of like the USA. It's too big to like invest against. To like you can't speculate against the entire USA. market size is too big. So, like, even if you're a George Soros and you have like 25 billion to invest, and your partners all have 500 billion, still the market size of the US is like 40,000 billion like a year. So you can only cut off maybe 1% with those guys. So, yeah. But the Swedish economy was different. It's only a 500 billion economy total. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like Belgium too is like a 500 or 450, 500 billion a year economy total. So if you have investors that can invest like hundreds of billions of dollars at once, they can speculate against your economy so fast. They can, they tear it apart like it's nothing. And Greece, Greece is even worse. Greece,
but that's a good example of what the outcome is. Greece is. I hate to say that, but it's people should be looking at that, but nobody's really paying attention.
Their old finance minister tried to survive. It was Yanis Varoufakis. He was a brilliant scientist, economic scientist. But he failed. His government sold him out. So.
There a change.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on there?
Not much.
Sorry about the mishap earlier. I just kind of fell asleep.
Oh, it's okay.
That happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was time, so I just fell out. But thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh yeah, you got some good timing, because we were just like kind of like talking about the French situation and yellow vests and what's been happening in Europe. So okay, but now it's also starting in Canada and in the United States. So I'm wondering what are the main the main demands in there, because in the
Orlando, you got some stuff scheduled for protests there in Orlando, right?
Yeah, we've got something scheduled for this Saturday. Just kind of threw it together last minute. I'm unfortunately not going to be able to make it because I'm going to be out of town this weekend. But I've got a point of contact and somebody who's going to hold it down for us, and just kind of be there and be able to reference people to our page now and try to go from there. Kind of put a feeler out for Orlando and see who's up to support this movement, and then hopefully on January 1st we can do something bigger, which I'll be able to attend that one.
Me and my wife and another local anon from Tampa are planning to head your way for that one on the 1st, I think, bro.
Nice, good stuff. We'll be glad to have you. I really hope that we can get some people out in Orlando, because we're not exactly the most active city, when it comes to this type of stuff.
Y'all blew us away this year for Million Mass March. I think we had 15 people at the most. You had 50 something over there in Orlando?
No, man, we didn't even have that many. It may have looked like that, but hell, we only had 10 or 15 people.
Oh, really? Same as us, huh? Man,
yeah.
Those numbers, I hate my head, but man, we did good to get those numbers.
I mean, yeah, that was one of our smallest turnouts, but hell, we still did it.
Yeah, I mean, we fed more people than we had attend, which is
Seriously.
a good feeling. That's always a good feeling. So,
yeah, same here.
But some people even left Tampa to head to Orlando.
Yeah, we had one guy I noticed. He came and then he told me he was going to leave our event halfway through and try to make it to yours, because yours was a little later than ours.
Yeah, it was pretty good though. You went up and did a lot of sitting on the pipeline, didn't you, man? Last summer?
We did a lot of work with the pipeline here locally, the Sable Trail pipeline, and I went to Standing Rock once. My girlfriend had up there twice for that. We sort of ended up there during that massive blizzard, though.
Yeah.
We couldn't get a whole lot done. us Floridians were out there trying to survive more than we could like help.
Yeah,
So
we don't even.
it sucked.
It doesn't even get cold here, man, in winter. Oh.
Yeah, so, but yeah, we were kind of involved in that for a little while when that whole thing like had its peak up. So that was really a good experience. Met a lot of good people through it too.
Yeah. Oh. It's it's refreshing to find people that are active that actually go out and venture to places for the experience, and then they come back and try to be more active in their areas. And I'd encourage everybody that's listening, don't look around you for something to follow. Be the change in your local community, man. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Find whatever it is that you think needs to be changed, and just be that change. And I'm not saying all of us are perfect, but it just takes a spark from one of us to get more people behind whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's I try to remind people that too, because there's always so many people asking around like, who's gonna do this or who's gonna do that. Man, you do it. Like, we've all got busy lives, we've all got things on our plate, like, and we can't do it all. So like with me in Orlando, it's almost kind of sucks because now I've got it to the point where like I'm kind of the one doing stuff here, and everyone's kind of just looking to me. And I feel like people are just being like cheerleaders at times. They're like, hey, when's this? When's that? And it's like, how about you guys jump on that one? let me take a little break, or let me focus on things over here, and you guys head that up. Like, and that's what I tell people too, is I'll be glad to like help you, but like I can't spearhead everything. You know what I mean? If you guys take the reins on this, I'll give you the tips and guide you through it. Like, I'm not going to leave them hanging out to dry. So just encourage people to use the tools they have. Like, if you have a big platform, use that. If you know how to make videos, do that. If you're good at talking to people, go hit the streets. Like, we've all got different skill sets we can, like, apply and work together.
Don, you can agree with that. Man, you got your plate full from start to finish, don't you, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
You're all over the place, aren't you, brother?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do my best, but he is totally right. I mean, some people are like, people easily share stuff, and they easily like stuff, and they easily respond to stuff. But for them to take all these steps themselves, it's like a bridge too far for them or something. I don't know, but your advice is true. They need to just be there on their own, I guess, and they just have to show the world that they are like standing there. And if one other person joins them, that means they already doubled the crowd, right?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, it's.
I feel sad being in America and seeing, we have so many people, but nobody will stand up. And when I watch these videos from other protests around the globe, no matter what the cause, man, no matter what the cause. I mean, it could be something that doesn't even pertain to me, and just to see the passion in the people. And then I go and show up at an event here in the States, and it's like, man, you got to beg people to show up, Like, look, I'll cover your parking. Just come down here,
Well, that's why you got to get like 100 heads to begin with, and then once you get, it's like herd. It's like, what do you call it? There's an actual word for it in psychology.
The herd.
Where somebody has to initiate something that nobody really wants to do, and then other people will follow once it's actually getting in motion. I forget what the word for it is.
Right, I'm with you on that.
So somebody has to take the initiative,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but I mean, it is not. It's not always easy. I can tell you that. I mean, I'm not happy with our results in Amsterdam either. I mean, with like Million Miles March, we had like maybe 50, 60 people this year, maybe like 3 or 4 more than last year. And it was good because it was like a weekday, but still, I'm not happy with these results. Like in 2015, we had like over 1,000 people easily.
Right, where'd they all go? Are they in those underground bunkers that none of us have a ticket to?
Nah, they were wannabes. What are you doing? Oh, I'm here because the Stratford hack. That was 3 years ago. Okay, I won't be here next year.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
You know, but that's really how it feels, you know? It's like, wow. But then again, like this year I got to meet some locals that, you know, I've talked to for a few years, but they just never made it to events. And that was so cool, you know, to meet some other locals here. You know, granted, I've only been in Tampa for like 3 years, so it's meeting people and getting to know them on this kind of levels. Kind of, you know, not too many people are open to that, you know? Oh, you just got here and you want to like what? Go protest? No, hold up. But, I don't know.
And it sucks because it's getting worse in the world. Like it's obviously getting worse everywhere right now. And I mean, it becomes visible in their daily lives. And so, right now, you would expect people to like rise up against these things. But yeah,
really, seriously, you're 100% on point there. That's, you know. I mean, why are the people not responding is my question. Am I really that out of my mind that I'm expecting people to show up and care about their freedoms or just to meet other people, other like-minded individuals? I mean, it's not even about changing the world when you go to a protest. At least meet other people that think the way you do, you know?
You know, I think part of the problem that I've noticed, I talked about this on a broadcast yesterday, like, the people in America are still so stuck in their bubble. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, if we told them we were doing the yellow vest thing this weekend, they'd go, well, what do you mean? Like, what are you protesting? You know, and like, you'd be like, well, the Federal Reserve, and you start listing off these problems, and they're like, well, what's wrong with the Fed? You know, there's so many people still asleep, still don't think, you know, we're the greatest country, we're free. You know, we could be like North Korea, everything's fine. Like, why are you guys complaining? Like, I feel like so many people are still stuck in that mentality that they don't see anything's wrong. Like, we've seen, like, old women and people marching and throwing rocks in France. Like, they're all visibly affected and upset. Like, I don't think that it's reaching these people in their American bubble still, you know, especially your, like, wealthy people. You know, we're either too asleep or too divided, I think, in this country, and that's what it kind of boils down to, is why we don't have numbers yet.
Yeah, and you're living in a country that's so influenced by a media system. The propaganda machine is so strong. Hollywood and the TV channels, this is like incredible. I know we have the same thing in Europe, but I know it's in America. It's also you have like a 24/7 broadcasting too. We don't even have that. It's like
you don't have 24/7 broadcasting?
No.
Wow.
What? Everything shuts down.
Like?
I thought you had like Sky News or something over there. There are several big.
At the after like 2 o'clock at night or something, it switches to like some cheap Telcel program or something, and it runs until the morning 6 or something, and then it starts.
Wow.
On every channel.
I remember the days that it used to be like that here.
Yeah, it used to be like in the 80s.
Like they would play their sign-off music, you know, that had the subliminal messages.
Yeah, man, I haven't seen that in a long time. Nobody does that anymore.
They play the national anthem, and they have flashes through the screen of subliminal messages for you to pick up. You know? You can find that video on YouTube where they slow it down, and you can see. It's like, wow, I remember watching that.
You're like, I didn't know that was they were trying to brainwash me.
Yeah. No, I mean, they would never do that. I'm sorry.
I have to give a disclaimer. We do actually get American channels too. So you can actually switch to CNN or whatever, and you can actually see your broadcasting. So. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the propaganda machine?
Yeah, you can actually switch to it.
Well, you know, I watch BBC, but, you know.
Well, they'll gaslight you too. I mean, they're not against that. It's state-run media.
Yeah, my Roku device,
BBC is just as bad.
I can even get channels from Africa and shit, but...
I don't pay for cable. I do have internet, but I don't pay for cable service. I use an antenna, and then anything else I search the web for, you know?
Yeah.
Probably the smartest thing to do, yeah, these days. So, yeah, you're when you're behind the TV, you're being without asking for it, you're being filled with all this stuff you don't want to be filled with, like all these commercials and stuff. It is literally brainwashing you, and I think if you watch too many of these commercials, it's literally erasing other stuff from your brain, like important stuff.
Oh, man. Orlando, I'm glad you did make it on, man. I really am. Appreciate it. So,
yeah, I maybe mention some meeting spots on the street or something, where whatever. I mean,
he had some stuff going on. I'm not sure exactly though.
What's up now? What on the streets?
Do you have some things you wanted to mention that, or?
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess you guys came on basically to talk about the yellow vest thing tonight. Where I'm at kind of with it is I was just kind of throw myself into it any way I could help. And I've got a friend on Instagram that's got like 100,000 followers, and he's really like gung ho about this too. And he's kind of new to the whole like activism thing. So I was like, listen, we'll kind of use your platform, and just try to promote a lot of these events. Like once we find out they're going on, we'll just push them through, the Instagram platform and just try to help people get numbers.
Right.
So we've been kind of working on that. It's going kind of well, except he's facing like the most censorship his account has ever faced.
Well, that's what happened. Yeah, that's what happens when you get into activism.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And he's kind of got his livelihood behind his account too, where he kind of sells some like CBD stuff. So he's like, man, I could lose everything. This is getting shady. And I was like, well, buckle up, because it's probably not going to get any better, especially if you get some traction. So it's going good, but that's kind of like where we're at with it.
Does he have a backup channel or a backup, account?
Yeah, he's got a backup channel. He created like a yellow vest one, but his main one with like 100,000 is getting hit pretty hard. So he's just kind of teetering on it, seeing what's going on, and like hoping his phone or account doesn't just turn off during the middle of this.
I think everybody on this panel here has lost
everything because of Facebook and Facebook Incorporated. Yeah,
because of our activism. I mean, everybody on the panel, I'm pretty sure.
That's why all of us moved off of Facebook. We still broadcast there, but if our accounts get deleted, we're gone. That's it. We don't care about it anymore.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I recently just dealt with it with PayPal. I don't know if Rich had told you guys, but I was giving out these little flash drives to people at events where they contain like 20-something documentaries, covering kind of like a wake-up pill, like, hey, I've got a friend who's curious in this stuff now. What can I give him? And boom, you just hand them this. And they've got freaking 20-something documentaries to blow their face off and wake up to everything. Well, as soon as I started selling these little things on PayPal, people really wanted them. So I was like, all right, let me start sending some of these out and, shooting them around the country. And as soon as I started sending them out, my PayPal got shut down. I've been banned from PayPal for life, and I can't get my money out for 6 months.
Open up a Stripe account.
Huh?
Stripe. It's like...
I guess like...
Yeah, but you'd have to create like a website where they could pay for it. But yeah, you could get a Stripe account. They're a little more liberal.
Yeah, I'm using a couple other methods to get payment now, but it was just kind of annoying. I'd had that account for 6-7 years, and as soon as I set this up, and they won't even tell me why. Like I contacted them, and there's nothing I can do. I can't even find out why it was deleted unless I take legal action. So
it's kind of illegal for them to hold your money without telling you why.
Right? That's what I would think.
Yeah, I would definitely get a lawyer.
Yeah, I've got an activist lawyer guy who kind of is kind of on retainer, I guess you can call, but he just does stuff like pro bono because he's down with the movement.
Yeah.
He's very involved with like the Sandy Hook stuff that I'm also very involved with. That like gets my YouTube videos taken down and strikes all the time, and only on that topic, which is pretty interesting. They really don't like when we talk about that.
Yeah, the censorship has reached a point that it's just it's ridiculous, man. And here, pretty soon, we know we're not even gonna be able to upload a picture or share a picture that has a can of Coke sitting on a table between two people. You know?
Yeah, I don't understand why you violated any terms of service for selling USB drives via PayPal. That doesn't seem illegal at all. You know?
Well, it's not. But see, once again, if you will put up with that, and nobody sues, and nobody goes the extra mile, then that becomes the precedent.
You know what would be really fucked up if you sued Facebook and the amount of the balance was less than $100, and you sued them, and you managed to get like a couple like million out of like 22 million out of like suing them. Like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what the Democrats do that a lot. You know, if they're environmentalists and all that, well, they just keep pounding you with lawsuits until something gets traction. You know, I mean, they know how to play politics. The problem with most activists, you know, and the right wingers for sure, is that they never do that. They never. It's like, oh, you banned me off all these things, and they never sue. They never try to get their business back. You know, look at Alex Jones saying, you know, he's like suing one or two people. It's like, well, fucking sue them all, man. What are you waiting for? You got money, motherfucker. Do it. You're the one with the business. Why don't you defend it? Oh, well, you don't want to defend it? Well, then they win. Because you don't know how to play the game. They know how to play the game.
I think they wrote the book.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Turfing is asking in the background how to
reach
Orlando. That's a back channel thing. Yeah.
I think he's seen it now.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm just glad to see that people do care. You know how I know? There's a whole bunch of them on this panel and all you know, sharing this stream. You know.
Yeah, there are always some. I mean, we can be very happy with that. I mean, let's hope it's the start. But yeah, I mean, maybe sometimes it needs like a big trigger event to actually start something again. I mean, it becomes like quiet for a few years, and then there's a big trigger event, and so many people suddenly rise up or something. I mean, we've had the whole Occupy thing in 2011. It was like pretty much all over the world. Suddenly, all Occupies were everywhere, and then
yeah, but we started it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of true.
Yeah, no, it is true, and spend a lot of work. I mean, spend a lot of work advertising these events, and I mean, for some reason, got a lot of attention. But it was also shortly after the big financial crisis of 2008. So.
Yeah, it was in it was 2010, right, or is it 12? 2000. It was right around the peak, so it had been 12, right? 11 or 12.
2000. Occupy Wall Street was in May 15, 2011, and in Amsterdam we started in October 15, 2011. But I think in 2010 I was already starting in the Arab Spring and stuff.
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
It's when we helped them fix their internet for them.
Yeah.
Why can't problems be that easy to resolve these days, you know? Oh, wait, we can all stream from the streets, you know, and get our message out. What's really going on?
Yeah, that's the thing is that, you know, like, to get people off of Facebook, you know, where, you know, you're going to get that censorship, you know, you need to get off the platform and see people streaming from other platforms other than Facebook, because it's not going to go anywhere once you stream to Facebook because of their algorithms.
Yeah, they kill your reach because you're not saying something they want to hear.
Yeah.
And you know, even on I've noticed Twitter's pretty bad about that, because I do a few little short live streams and just BS, you know, and mainly I'm doing it to test my reach on there. And
well, on average, you know, I have 2,000 followers, and you know, on average, you know, a post, like if I do like a really good post, like I'll get 1,000, but if I do something really retarded, only 50 or 100. But
Yeah.
You gotta say something that's catchy, and I know I'm not shadow banned, and because I don't post like every 5 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
But there's ways of you know, if you limit, like, honestly, like there is a secret number. I think it's less than isn't it less than 50 tweets a day? Isn't it, John? Before you hit the algorithm.
You mean then you get extra boosted, or you mean then you get banned?
You get they don't prioritize your tweets. I think it's 50.
Oh yeah.
Because after a while, after so many tweets, it doesn't show up in the timeline, even if you're your friends.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, it becomes more shady now because they make like differences between like certain hashtags and stuff. Like some
Yes,
hashtags
they do.
Really shadow ban and stuff.
Yes, they sure do.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I check it, like I search for like a hashtag, and then like from my own account, and I see myself like 20 times there, and I check it from another account, and I'm not even in the list. And I check on these sites like that's shadowban.eu or something, and you can see if you're shadow banned. And I'm not shadow banned according to that site. It's for summer.
I also know that it's a way that you also use your hashtags a lot of, you know, here's the thing, and I've talked this about several times. People don't understand, especially on Instagram. You know, no hate to our Instagram, follow. We don't have Instagram. Never mind. But anyway, so yeah, people on Instagram don't understand what hashtag. Hashtag doesn't mean hashtag I love my life, hashtag Coke, hashtag this is cool, hashtag blah blah blah. No. Hashtags are there for searches, and if you want somebody to search your thing, you can use a trending hashtag in something that's not related to what you're saying. So if I say hashtag MAGA in an anti-Trump thing, you might get the wrong audience, but you know what I'm saying. If you use the wrong hashtag in a tweet, you would get more people following what you're saying.
Right. Like send them in the opposite direction.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, there's a method to my madness. But
yeah, but it does actually work on Twitter. Like, let's say you have like people like Elon Musk, for example, spoke out against Facebook, for example, and he does have some followers on Twitter. So if you speak out against Facebook and you add the Elon Musk, then you have a bigger chance of having his followers retweet your anti-Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're fans of Musk and he says that stuff. So yeah, it's as easy as that. Yeah, with other things too. I mean, yeah.
This Acta 2, man. Are y'all gaining any ground? Do you feel? Are the people getting behind it, or are they?
Well, we got organizers from 13 or 14 countries now, but it's not going as fast as we hoped for. But there is the Save Your Internet hashtag. It's also pretty popular, but that is more like the commercial hashtag. It has like sites like YouTube and stuff behind it, because they are also going to be damaged with this ACTA law. So
yeah, your internet's going to turn into our internet, but much worse.
Yeah.
They haven't even imposed the laws yet, you know. And I'm pretty sure they're
they can.
I'm pretty sure they're coming around the corner, you know.
Yeah, if they're going to impose these SESTA or these FOSTA laws on the US, then you're going to have a lot of crying there. I can imagine that. Yeah. So because they already instated the same laws there, but it was like kind of without protest, because it was not mentioned anywhere.
Because people, weren't paying attention. Kind of like when the internet handoff happened, when they gave the main DNS from ICANN to NATO. Like, what the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah.
Like I don't think it was in good hands with ICANN, but I definitely wouldn't give it to NATO.
It was the UN, wasn't it? Not NATO.
Or sorry, UN. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the
that's a big mistake.
Yeah, in the US they introduced that FOSTA law, SESTA law, that it says like the same as Article 13 they will release in here in early next year, and that says that website owners are responsible for all content of their users. So if you have a news blog and in the comments someone posts something copyrighted, and you as writer of your news blog can pay for their stuff. So what this will cause in the European Union is the upload filter. That's what they're proposing.
That's
so
ridiculous.
There will be
That's censorship up the ass.
Yeah, there's a Chinese style upload filter. That's literally what they're going to do.
Well, what if we program filters? What if we program an upload mechanism that doesn't have to go through a filter? No, that doesn't make any sense because it would have to still go through some. Yeah, never mind. I just thought about that. That was kind of stupid.
Yeah, there are a few weird things. I mean, it will probably be for all European sites and probably for European users. But let's say I use a VPN and it's like encrypted VPN, and I use like a USA uplink.
Yeah.
And technically, I'm still allowed to upload, but probably it won't be allowed.
Work, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
The programmers probably won't do it by region. It's just by, hey, if you're uploading to this site and it doesn't pass the filter, then you're not uploading.
Yeah, exactly. The bigger sites like Facebook and YouTube and stuff will all implement this because they serve like huge audiences in the European Union. So, yeah.
No more memes.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, well, so this will also be going on for the United States. I can guarantee you that, because YouTube and stuff, they will adapt to it to make life easy for them. So, yeah.
But they just keep killing themselves. It's like, okay, if you know, that's so now in order to get messages across, you use the memes. So if they kill their traffic, how does that help Facebook? Traffic is what you're based on, allegedly, for your model. And if you just keep coming up with ideas that keep limiting your bandwidth and your traffic, how does that work? How's Facebook ever going to pull out of their dive?
Don't know.
Not that I want them to. Just keep doing what you're doing. But you know,
yeah.
How does that even work in the corporate mind? It doesn't even make sense.
If you think about like the full picture is like that, it will be most damaging to like the small website owners who can't make these copyright deals. I mean, YouTube and Facebook can make copyright deals with the music distributors. It will cost them a bit, but they can make the deals.
So now,
and then if they combine.
Now little guys, like little kids and can't make their own websites because they have to make sure that the laws that they're in accordance with the laws and the copyright laws. That's ridiculous, you know?
Yeah. Well, you would think if somebody was drinking a Coke in a picture and you wanted to send it to your relatives, that Coke would want them to see one of their relatives drinking a can of Coke. But no, because it's copyrighted, no, you can't send that picture.
Yeah, some advanced AI will detect the Coca-Cola picture.
Yeah,
that's probably how it's going to be, because they're already talking about AI that's going to do this.
10-year-olds getting like pissed off, like, I just made this website. What the fuck?
Yeah, really. Oh.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They will be restricted to using like Facebook as their website, because like Facebook will probably make like a deal with some copyright things.
Right, where you can use this copyrighted material on our site.
Yeah, other sites can't.
We have a license for it.
Oh, that's trippy. Weren't we talking on the back channels about a rating society? I'm not sure if I did this here or at work. Because in China they're having a rating society, and if they make it so that everybody has to be on a social media platform, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, but yeah, they're doing it.
I remember seeing in an episode of Dark. It was on Netflix. It's a Dark. It's like
Dark Mirror.
Dark Mirror, yes, where they had a rating society, and that's kind of what they're doing in China. But if they can implement that worldwide, but with these copyright upload filters and nobody can have their own websites, that's fucking crazy as fuck.
Yeah, but look at YouTube. They're kind of the pioneers on this. Like,
Yeah.
upload something to YouTube, and they will detect if it's copyrighted, and it works almost perfectly already. And they will actually, you go to like the video editing, and they will actually suggest like the replacement music and stuff you can add to it.
Yeah. I get that a lot.
Yeah, and that's the stuff. Like, and they will like buy more and more of these copyrighted packages, and then the upload filter will block you from uploading, and they will like say like, now you can't upload this, but here is our suggestion to add.
Yeah,
like, that's what will happen. Like it's fucking scary for sure. But and then combine this with combined with net neutrality, this will be even sicker. With the end of net neutrality.
And you would think that some of these like important people who use the internet to build
stuff
things, you know, would understand. I mean, let's just use Linus Torvalds for an example. He built Linux, right? He built it himself.
Linux. Linus got the backbone from Bell Laboratories from the Unix system, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, he did it himself.
Okay, so you would think he would be like, wow, other minds will not be able to learn as much with a censored internet. Maybe I should step up. But he's not doing that.
No, actually,
you know,
Linus,
that's my point.
I don't want to talk shit about Linux because I'm a daily Linux user, but
right.
Linus Torvald in the last 6 months has kind of stepped away. Well, almost 2 years has kind of stepped away from a lot of the Linux stuff, and it was at a personal choice, and he took an extended vacation away because from the Linux development teams because he was saying that his priorities were wrong, and because he was looking forward to not going to the kernel. They have an annual meeting where they talk about the kernel and where it's going, and he was looking forward to not going to there. So much so that he scheduled a vacation on the same time he was supposed to be there, and so he's just taking some time off to kind of get his inspiration back.
Well, I think he would be a great person to help stand up for a non-censored internet, you know?
Yeah.
You would think, I mean, most of the servers run on Linux anyways, don't they?
Well, Apache, yeah, and Jinx,
yeah.
Ubuntu, well, not so much. Well, yeah, you do see Ubuntu servers on the back end, but anything free is better than paying for it. But yeah, 90% of the backbone of the internet, it's all Linux.
And it's all GNU, right? I mean, Richard Stallman's projects. Richard Stallman is like probably the best speaker for that. But not everyone likes him.
Where are they while the internet's being threatened? You know, step up, man.
He does speak out, but he doesn't get like the attention he deserves.
Yeah.
But
yet they've done so much for our culture, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think what that kid you were talking about who's going to be making these websites, what he's going to have to do is have a conversation with his dad, and his dad's going to have to explain to him how the internet used to be and how it used to be free and the things you used to be able to do, you know, before all this bad shit happened, and you know, it'll be a story just like a lot of other stories about cable or TV or radio. And
Preston, I love your philosophy there. It'll be like a bedtime story almost, huh?
Yeah, if you know how, you know, in the previous, you know, in America, when America actually existed, you know, this is how things were. You were free, you know, but don't mistake, son, that's not where you're at now, you know. You're not in America anymore.
This is dystopia.
Yeah.
You work for Cobra.
And then when he starts crying profusely, you have to try to, you know, it's like, okay, well, hey, I mean, I had to break it to you somehow, but, you know, it's like, you know, well, that's where you're at, man. You know, gotta grow up.
And the worries we have these days, you know. You know, if Schwartz was still alive, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Well, yeah. I mean, if Schwartz was alive, we would have, more hacktivism going on. He created Demand Progress, but I knew he wanted to focus more on political stuff than on the internet stuff. Towards the end, that was kind of related to why he hung himself, because if he would have had a felony, it would have yeah, he wouldn't have been able to work in politics because he felt like he made more of a difference when he was doing that.
Yeah. I don't believe the narrative, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that a felony would keep you out of politics, I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, we have more politicians that have felonies than anything else.
Well, there was also a lot of stress. He was fighting that case for like a year, and he was
and he had colitis too, so that takes a really that can really take a toll on a person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird because every avenue that he stood up for, they have just snowblown, and swallowed it up. The machine has, Well, you can't go get legal. You can't get legal documents anymore. Even worse off than when he was here. They have just strangled it.
I remember he offered to buy JSTOR for like $2 million, but they wanted $144 million, which he didn't have. So he just downloaded it, and the fuck up, That's what got him in trouble. Yeah, the FBI found out because he was using a terabyte. He was using a jack connection from MIT, or he was using
yeah. Yep. That's balls out though, bro. You got to give him that. You have to give him that. That's balls out. Fine, I'll just plug in. You want to cut me off? I'll just plug right in.
Yeah.
You can't get no more cowboy than that. You really can't, man.
Yeah, they wanted to give him like 30 years for downloading JSTOR, which was ridiculous.
Which, because it was a college, it shouldn't have cost nothing anyways. But they were saying that they lost money and that
yeah, but the data went nowhere.
Yeah, it didn't. He just put it on a hard drive,
Yeah.
Which by using a college feed, he was entitled to do, especially with his tuition.
Well, he did.
He wasn't going to MIT then. That's right. He wasn't going.
No, he used some script magic, to get in, but.
Yeah. It's insane, man. Wow. The wheels on the bus go round and round.
All right, guys, we
are almost at 11 million. I mean, we're not far from it. We're like 250,000 away from 11 million on that.
This is ridiculous. So they are. You know what? I when I start seeing the numbers grow in millions by the minute, now you're seeing political money.
Yeah. There's got to be a lot of. I mean, otherwise, according to the list, a whole lot of Anons are donating.
All right, keep saying anonymous.
Yeah. That's when you don't want to put in your name. It says anonymous.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry. That was just
Jesus. We got about 5 minutes left. What did we not talk about that's going on?
Russia collusion. We didn't talk about Russia collusion at all.
Yeah, I know. You know, the fact that they say that nothing had happened and nothing. Well, we had a guest on here, and her daughter was arrested, and she was she's going to be doing 5 years.
Reality.
Reality winner. We had her mother on, and if you want to follow her, it's at Billy Winner. On Twitter, Billy with a IE, not a Y. But yeah, we've already had our first arrest, and proving that the NSA had known that the Russians were involved in playing around with our election, despite what our president is saying,
Yeah. Man. I hope that everybody listening can really try to be the light in their local communities, man. Because change starts in your local area, man.
Yeah.
And it starts with you. If you want to be active, then be active.
I think I covered just about everything on what I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, they found ice in a crater on Mars. I mean, but that's like
On Mercury too.
Did they? On Mercury?
On Mercury, yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yep.
Is it like super hot on Mercury?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right at the poles. Shaded craters at the poles.
I gotta look that up. Hold on. What? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says. Yeah. Ice in the craters.
I wouldn't lie to you, Charlie.
I know, that's crazy. You think? Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, you can go damn near anywhere and find water.
Yeah, they think there's 100 billion gallons on the moon.
The moon's got it. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah. What about these huge moons of like Jupiter and stuff? Saturn, or Saturn, like Europa, and you have the other one, Ganymedes or something. That one is even.
Yeah, Europa is just like is a frozen ice ball, and then yeah, the other one I think has volcanoes that shoot out ice. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's one of them is like a huge ball of ice, and below that is like a giant ocean.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, why don't you go there instead of Mars? I mean, Mars is... yeah. Humans can live on ice. I don't know. There's like literally an ocean. Yeah.
Oh. All right, so we got about 2 minutes. Maybe I should just start rolling it out.
That's fine.
Yeah, we will be back next time, Thursday, 7 o'clock Pacific. Not sure about guests. We will announce it either on Twitter but definitely not on Facebook. But we will.
I know Leaderman wanted to come in the show, and there was. We're also getting French Yellow Vests in.
I look forward to hearing from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need like an on-the-fly translator for that because yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. So if anybody of you guys speak French, message us at ABB Live, at ABB Live Show on Twitter, and we will roll out with the credits.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah, thank you
I declare this to be an unlawful assembly.